Items on the agenda tonight.
It's now 5:45. Call this public hearing to order of the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors to consider the Virginia Department of Transportation 6-year secondary road plan for fiscal years 21 and 22. Before we open the floor to any comment, I would like our parliamentarian to sort of explain where we are with the executive orders from the governor in regard to how we're meeting here tonight.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, thank you. The governor entered a new executive order, 72. His orders are more restrictive than the past executive orders that exist. And specifically on tonight's meeting, there is a requirement in his executive order that there be no more than 10 people in this room tonight, including you all and your staff. And so I think there is a total of about, how many of us? There's 8 or 9 of us who are staff. And that leaves maybe room for the sheriff and no one else. And so now wait, just hold on, everybody just stay. So what we've done, we set up a room down 228 for all of those who want to stay and participate. There is a projector in there, staff set up for you. There is also sound set up there for you. And if you wish to monitor, you may go down there in 228 and watch, and they'll hold up to 10 people. No more than 10 people can be in that room. And so the other option would be for you all to, those of you here, to have public comment. You go down and listen to the public, to whatever is being said, and you can call in to discuss, or you can come back and ask to come in and speak when the time comes to speak on any issue that you hear. Or you can call in. So that's the only way that we knew how to handle it. And so the request would be, so the sheriff makes 10. And so if the 4 of you all would step down to 228 except you, and the public hearing, the sheriff can step outside and stay at the door, and he's technically not in here. But the other 3 of you, then when he leaves, if another wants to come in at any time and address the board on any issue, personally, individually, you may do so, but the sheriff will step out and let you come in. Is that fair enough for everybody?
Hey, Bud.
Yes, sir.
One other thing, unless there's a waiver, I think everyone has to have a mask.
That is correct. Everybody in here is required to have a mask. If you don't have a mask, you can't stay or you can't participate. You must leave.
There's masks on that
And
table.
there's some masks back there.
On that table,
On
right
that
there in
table.
front of Ron.
Yeah, there's a mask,
on
so
the
you have to
table.
wear a mask. You have to
Unless
wear
there's a
mask.
medical waiver. And Larry, I'm not trying to pick on you, I'm just saying, we've got to follow these guidance.
Well, the issue here is that, you're correct, thank you for adding that, and that's part of the order. You have to have a mask on to be in this building. You have to have a mask on to be down in room 228. You have to have a mask on to be in here. That's what the rule is. And so if you don't have a mask on, the sheriff will ask you to step outside. That's what the orders did, from executive order. Room 228, so get you a mask, we want you to stay.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Appreciate that. Now, the floor is now open, and I guess the phone lines are open, Mr. Mullins, for anybody to make a remark. And I see we have a VDOT representative here, but the phone number is 276-333-0357. If anybody wants to make comment at this time, I'll turn the floor over to the VDOT representative. I apologize, I don't have your name.
Jackie Christian.
Yes, sir, I didn't see or recognize you with the mask on. Hey, Jackie, how are
Sorry
you?
about that.
I've drove you crazy plenty on the phone, so.
No problem. That's what we're here for.
Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
I'll be brief with you tonight. This time for our secondary system, Dixon County, along with VDOT, we have kind of limited funds on our plan this year. But do y'all have copies of the, I guess, hopefully of the plan?
No, I don't.
I've got a couple extra here.
Let me see, Jackie, what it is. They may have it in your package.
I didn't see it nowhere.
I don't have it either.
It may be on that,
I know it's here at the office.
I got it in the package.
It's in the
Got the one.
it's in our package, I think, when we get ready to vote on it.
Yeah.
I believe if you look at tab 11,
It's 11,
That's right,
They
you're
don't
right.
have it.
11A. 11A.
11A. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's a requirement through the Code of Virginia that we hold these. Last year, due to the restrictions, we didn't get to, but we're hoping funding issues will be a little better this year. That's a hope we can all keep, but we have two projects on the secondary 6-year plan. The first project is Route 649, Rush Creek, and that's the improvements of the intersection there on Route 637. At the present time, the only way out is to go right, then you have to go out the road, turn around, and come back to go back to Rush Creek.
Hey, Jackie, they've all four done give me a rough time over there.
Have they?
I'm still not cashed in my, IOU on that yet.
We're trying to work with the Code Committee to advance this project for additional funding.
I believe the committee approved those monies at the last meeting.
And if, right now, we're waiting on the district to finalize their plans. I'd love to see that intersection fixed. It's been a kind of a bad intersection for years, so that's a plan. And the monies we received this year, if you, on that front page, are basically tele-fee money and some unpaved road money, and a total of $86,267. So we'll advance those funds, and also we had a percentage going into the countywide rural addition funds in the amount of $2,336. Those are small amounts, but, you know, they will mount up in time to where hopefully we can add another rural addition to the county.
It's a pitiful bunch of money.
It's slow, but, you know, that's what we have to offer tonight, and that's the plan with what we have. And hopefully, with the COLE funds, we can at least see that one project advance in the near future. And I'll take any questions the
What
board
was
might
the
have.
second project, Mr.
The rural
Christian?
rustic projects.
The what?
Rural rustic roads.
That's for additions to the system. I think the last one was up on the hill. I can't remember the name of the road now, Shelby. But anyway, it's in the process now, I think, of being
Look at that,
completed.
Shelby.
It's not Keith Hall, is it?
No, it's up where we're gonna build the new VDOT office up there on top.
Oh, yeah,
Ridge?
on Caney Ridge
Right
on
there.
637.
Rita's Lane.
Rita's
Thank you.
Lane's been done, that's where I live,
Yeah.
out that way, and that's been completed and looks very nice.
That was the last one that we was able to compile the funds for.
I have heard rumors that VDOT plans to relocate on, right before you turn out Bice Ridge on that left there, that piece of property, is
They
that where
bought
the
that
dump
property
is?
years ago.
Is that still in the plan?
We purchased that property several years ago. And we're waiting on funds to build the building. It's a projected $1 million building total when they complete it, so. But the funds have been purchased for the property, and it all belongs to VDOT now. When we purchased it, it was a field behind that location. Now it's up level with it.
Yeah, it's a big dump there now, yeah. But the dump is higher than the road
Yeah,
now,
the refuge from the coal facility.
you know, refuge from the coal reject. So do you plan to move up there, or you don't know when the projected date is?
No, we'd love to move now, but we have to wait on, we're in line with other states, other counties throughout the state for those funds. And we had one bid that come in and was way too high, so. We've got the plans. It's a real nice facility with cut rock. It'd be a real, that was part of when we purchased the property. When I met with the doctor, he said, I don't want them to bring something up there and junk the community up. So it's gonna be a
Dr.
nice
Ratliff on
facility.
that.
Y'all have owned that about 20 years, haven't you?
I'd say at least 10 or 12.
Yeah, I know, it's a long
I
time. I
never
remember
thought
when
it
you
was.
purchased it.
Well, I guess you bought it after Dr. Ratliff deceased, wasn't it?
No,
Or
I bought
before
it
he died?
Yeah.
Yeah, before, they bought it a long time before he died.
That's all well and good, you just increase the traffic on that road there.
Be good in snow removal, though, that'd be the cleanest.
We
road
are,
in.
yeah.
Not to go far.
Yeah.
Mr. Christian, I'm gonna read this phone number one more time, if I may, 276-333-0357. If there's any public comment that would like to be given via telephone, you have that opportunity here tonight.
Was there anybody that stepped outside wanting to speak at this?
Well, he's not finished yet, are you?
Oh,
You
I'm not-
finished?
I thought he was, yeah.
I didn't know he was finished. Well, let me ask you a question. How do you get on the 6-year plan?
It's based on these meetings. If you have comments, roads that you'd like to have on, it's totally up to the board to make that decision. And we'll, right now, like I say, this one, if we get the coal funds, hopefully within this year, we'll see some movement on that one. So between now and the next year, we'd be looking for some feedback as far as,
Well, it was brought to my attention, the extension agent has on Red Onion Mountain to the right, they have a building out there where they have different events. And that road is not paved,
Ag Center.
the Ag Center.
that's anything that goes on a 6-year plan has to already be in the VDOT system. Those roads you're talking about there would be
They're
a
not in
rural
the
rustic,
system.
a rural addition project. In other words, it already has to have the numbers on the road before you can put it on the 6-year plan for improvements.
They don't have the numbers?
No, that one's not in the state
No, it's
system.
not a VDOT road.
I thought it was because it used to be the old
No, it's,
Dixon Road.
it's not in the state system. Actually,
Well, how do you
VDOT,
get them, how you get a road number then?
that's where the
You have to get in
rural,
a 6-year plan.
the rural additions we was talking about a while ago, just
Can you
like
put them in the rural rustic?
Rita Lane. Well, once those funds are available, right now, we're looking at just $2,000 and some dollars, and
Oh, they ain't
that's
gonna
not
do
a
that.
start. It took us several years to get Rita's Lane,
They
Yeah.
have
into the
money to
system.
do it, they have to have
Where,
the funding.
where can you be reached, Mr. Christian?
Wise
Telephone
office.
I've talked to Harmon a lot, but I've never talked to you, sir.
He's
Same
at the
number.
Wise- He
Same
stays down
number?
in Lee County a lot.
Lee County.
We've got, I've got 4 counties, and.
Are you Harmon's boss?
Yes,
You don't answer, don't know.
yeah.
Jackie, I appreciate the paving y'all did in my district over on Ralph Stanley Highway and Brushy Ridge and some of those off-roads over there. I really appreciate, they really needed it.
Harmon does an excellent job
Yeah.
for Dixon County. He really does. He works hard. I was talking to him before I come over to see if he had anything to share. He just said, tell everybody hello. So,
Yeah, I haven't had to contact him for a while, so I
What?
guess he's glad.
I burn him up.
I've called him twice on 2 different things, but there's a hole right out here at Brenda Circle, and it's on your all's right away. I've called twice on that.
I can follow up with him and see where he's at.
I'll just call you now instead of Harmon.
That'll be fine. That's what we're there for.
Harmon does a good job indeed.
Yeah, Harmon's very nice.
Any other questions concerning the 6-year plan?
I don't believe so, Mr. Christian. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your all's time.
Hope you have a Merry Christmas.
You all too. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if you would, you may want to announce anyone in the room 228 who wish to call in on number or wish to come up and speak, one at a time they may. And I'll go out there and make the announcement. as well.
Okay.
But you have 228 with maybe citizens in it.
Yeah, and they're viewing this, right?
Yes, they are.
So anybody in
Well, should
our,
Jackie stay?
in our alternative room here in the Ed Center, if you would like to come in and make a public comment, you now have the opportunity to do so.
I ain't sure if he's at.
What'd you say, Shelby? I'm sorry.
If they want to talk to him, he should have stayed, shouldn't he?
Shoot, I don't know what he come for, really.
Well, to go over the 6-year plan.
How did he get Rita's Lane on there?
They have to have all their funding in place before they do one on a 6-year plan. All their funding has to be in place.
But this funding right here is pitiful.
That's why this right here is taking so long to just, they had some money left over while they're doing this on Brush Creek. They just had enough money left over to do a small thing and that's the one they chose to do.
So this money comes directly to the state of Virginia, or through the state of
No,
Virginia?
I guess it comes from their,
Do me a favor,
yeah,
get me a new mask.
I guess.
Thank you.
You got the big head, have you?
Yeah.
But, they
Thank
have
you
to
so
have
much.
complete funding before they do a project. And like he says, they just got 2,000 now to start.
Well, that's beautiful, ain't it?
Yeah. They have these mostly left over from other projects that they've
Thank you.
got money to fund.
For goodness sakes, who determines how much money that they get? Just people?
The state decides how much money that
At
they
this
get,
time, I think
that
I'll
VDOT gets for each
entertain a motion
district.
to adjourn the public comment, or excuse me, the public hearing portion of our agenda tonight.
I make a motion that we adjourn the
Is there a
public
second?
comments.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on the 6-year plan in the public hearing that we had on it? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Public hearing is adjourned. I'll now call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors. Would note for the record that all members are present. Would also note that County Attorney, Mr. Phillips, County Administrator, Mr. Moore, and Madam Clerk, Teresa Lyle, are present. If you all will join me in a brief word of prayer as we begin the meeting. Heavenly Father, we come before you as humbly as we can before this meeting. I ask you to bless us with knowledge and wisdom and good decision-making for Dickinson County. I ask your hand over our country and our nation as we struggle through this virus and other hard times through this winter. We know that your hand is upon us and you're all-knowing, and we will come out of this virus. Dear Lord, I ask for a special holiday season on each family represented here and each family here in Dickinson County. Please forgive us where we fail you, and it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Phillips, as we did before the public hearing portion, if you would again maybe refresh both the board and the public on the parameters of the new executive order and how we're going to proceed tonight.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The new executive order came out from the governor's office on Monday at 12 o'clock and went in effect at 12 o'clock midnight. And that order is more restrictive in terms of public gatherings and masks. And in terms of public gatherings that the county or state or local government agencies can have, including boards of supervisors, you cannot have more than 10 people in one room, inclusive of the board and your staff. And so it was designed to make sure that no more than 10 people at any one time would be in this room tonight. And what we have done to facilitate the public participation, obviously, number one, you're streaming live tonight. Would that sound correct? Streaming live, and the public can pick us up, and they have a right to later under the public comment section to comment on anything they wish tonight relative to your agenda tonight. Secondly, we've opened up a room here on the same floor, room 228, that if there's an overflow crowd, more than 10 people, they can go to room 228 and stay and watch, and you can listen and watch, and also you have your phone and you can call in from that location here and make comments, or if you wish, let us know and you want to come publicly in to testify or question or make comments during public comment or any other time you wish to come in on the agenda, you may do so and come and speak directly to you in person. But we have to alternate in and out so that we're not over the 10. One of the other, over the 10 capacity. The other issue that Mr. Peters brought to my attention, I should have, but I was not thinking of that issue, but it's really important to know that the governor has a mask mandate in public buildings, and this building in particular. If you come in this building here, the county, you can't come in unless you have a mask and wear a mask at all times. And it's also applies to all of our employees. They have to wear a mask at all times inside. Now, the other executive orders, there were some exceptions to the rules in terms of, for example, if you went to your own office, close the door, you didn't have to wear a mask. But he changed that. It's more restricted. Anybody in a public building now, or any buildings at all, they have to wear a mask at any county facility that we have. And so that's basically the new regulations that came out. And so our goal is, and when I say ours, the board, is to make sure that every citizen has a right to know the agenda, what the agenda is. You have a right to participate by phone or you can come and watch in 228 and participate by phone, or if you wish to come and at one at a time, come in and testify or ask questions or make comments, this board welcomes you to do so, but you have to wear a mask to come in. Any questions, Mr. Chairman or other board members?
No, I just want to thank you for your diligence on that, Mr. Phillips, in protecting us from liability and informing us of the law and changes in the orders. And I know you've worked really hard on this over the past several months, and it's changed and evolved, and so I appreciate it very much. Anybody have any questions on how we're proceeding pursuant to those
Are we
executive
doing
orders?
pledge?
Yes, I was going to do that. I wanted to take care of that first. Ron, would you care to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes from our board workshop meeting November 5th and our public hearing November 17th, our regular meeting November 17th, and the special called meeting of November 23rd. Has everybody had time to review those minutes?
Mr. Chairman, if there's no question or no correction, I make a motion that we approve those.
I have a correction.
Yes,
On
ma'am.
page 10 of the regular meeting, under the tire cutter discussion, it is typed out that it is 7,896, and it is written in parentheses as 7986, which is a transposer figure.
Mr.
Page 10 under the tire cutter.
She can correct that.
Yeah. I didn't know exactly which way it was, if it's 7,800 or 7,900. You see it, Josh?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't remember.
Shoot, I don't see it.
We'll have to go with the oral, I guess, the oral record. Mr. Phillips, what is the formal way to correct them?
Make a motion to correct and be seconded and voted on.
What I would suggest is allow the clerk to listen to the audio again and possibly make any corrections that would be needed.
Yeah,
We want
that's
to put
fine.
that in the form of a motion.
Okay.
Do you want?
I make that motion that she corrects that, listens to that and corrects that.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion on that? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. As well. And so I guess Ms. Willis will go back. Do you want to make a motion to approve the minutes then? with
As
that?
amended?
As
I make a
amended.
motion that we approve the minutes as amended.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well.
I oppose.
She
Not oppose, excuse me, I abstain.
She abstained.
Sorry about
On
that.
the minutes?
Yes,
Yes.
I abstain
Yes.
from voting on the minute.
The
Madam
reason why,
Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, she has a correction coming later.
Yes, I understand. Okay, very good. Item 4, approval of the agenda. I see in our packet, y'all seen, and I talked to Ron about this is his district, and I brought it up to him, but Ms. Rose apparently had some issue, and I thought that we might, rather than have her wait here till the public comment, I think that's where it was gonna be, but if we wanna add an item for her, maybe after David gets done with his presentations, I don't know, that's up to you all, that's just a suggestion I had, rather than make her wait.
I'd let her go before.
Before
I
your
go.
presentation?
Yeah, we'll amend the agenda, let her.
Put her at
add
item
in,
4 or
let her
whatever.
go, so she can go home.
Absolutely. Are y'all okay with that?
Put her as 4A.
She'll be 5, and then everything else will renumber below it.
That'll be good then, so I'll try to keep up with that, but, so we would add 5 and then bump everything down and add Miss Rose
I'm
on
sorry, what is her
her.
first name?
Sue.
Sue Rose?
Yeah.
Okay. So she'll be 5. We'll
Does any-
renumber below that. You also have an addition to add a closed session.
Yeah, I seen that.
We were going to add that at 12, which that will now make that item 13.
Okay, so we're gonna add,
Sue Rose will be 5.
right,
Then you
that'll
move
make-
on down to-
That'll make me 6, expenditure 7, Sandy Ridge 8, roads 9, public comment 10, other business 11. Your resolutions will be 12. At 13, we'll add a closed session. The one that was proposed prior to tonight was a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.23711A5. Item 1 is discussion concerning I think it's prospective industry or development. And Ms. Willis, did you want to add,
Yes, I do want to add,
and Mr. Phillips, I'll need a little bit
Personnel.
of the code section. That would be a personnel discussion.
Section 2.2, 3711, A1, personnel, all departments.
Okay.
All right, so just to be clear, and I apologize if I'm being redundant or not so we're gonna do 13 as the closed session piece.
right.
Yeah.
All right, and then what, the COVID plan would then be,
14.
No, then you have, then in adding closed session, you also have to add your items as you come out. So you will be adding, matters discussed,
Oh, yeah. So that's 14.
Certification and
That is the stuff.
and there's another one, and you'd swear for the life of me. There are 2 items that go along with that. That'll be 14 and 15, so COVID plan will then go to 16.
what was that, Mr. Phillips, a $50 fine in your courtroom?
Confiscation.
Confiscation and jail? I remember very well, always
15
flipped
or
it off.
16.
All right, so I believe I have it straight, and I'm sure Ms. Kaiser or somebody else will correct me if I do not. But does everyone, does someone want to make the motion to amend the agenda as we have articulated here?
I make the motion to amend the agenda as articulated by you, Josh.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Chief, would you mind to ask Miss Sue Rose to come in? Thank you.
I know she has a video, she messaged me today, she wanted y'all to look at it,
She has a what?
a video
Oh,
that she
okay.
messaged me.
Well, I'll let
Anybody
her-
wants-
Is
If
this-
anybody wants to look at it.
Is this from her?
No, that's from Ron. He had asked me to
Oh,
distribute that
this
since
is
he
from
couldn't
Ron.
come in. And,
Now, she gave that to me, Mrs. Rose did.
well, this is something I give out when I come
Okay.
in, something different.
Okay,
Miss Rose has a sheet, Rhonda, that Teresa had put with us, and when I brought that,
Yeah.
Ron had asked me to give that out as well. Just-
Okay. This is going
Hers
on
says
25 years ago.
hers says the residents of Bartley Street. That's
Well, I
hers.
don't seem to have that one.
I gave you one.
Oh, here's what it looks like.
See
You know,
And then this is one Ron brought.
I see this one, but I don't see the other. Oh, here it is. Have had it.
yes, but they're gonna have to probably do something with the water treatment plant.
Ms. Rose, please come on up.
Miss Rose, yes, ma'am, we made a special spot here for you rather than making you wait till public comment, so you go ahead, the podium is yours now, ma'am, if you wanna go ahead.
I would like, if y'all could see this video.
If you wouldn't care, just explain to us I don't know anything about other than what you see, and I don't know anything about what's going on myself.
I have a house on Barton Street, and there's several of us, Jean Counts and Judy, and Audrey Oakwin and her husband, and there's 5 or 6 homes there. For years and years and years, there's been a bad smell, and not all the time, part of the time. And they sometimes, and on this video, raw sewage is coming up in the river, in this manhole.
So it's coming out of the manhole.
It's gushing up, and it's coming in the river. And we have called, it's been years, and we was told a long time ago, or Gene Counts has been there longer than I have, but I've just had it at my house for 2 years. And I'm getting ready to lose my permanent renters because they can't stand the smell. And then this raw sewage is running over in the river. And, you know, we love our tourism, that it's been built up. and they're floating the river, their kids are swimming the river. And if that'd be a home running their sewer in the river, I don't think it would be allowed.
I assume have you been to the PSA board meeting?
I have not, I think Audrey Oakwin, she said she attended, and they've come and they've done the smoke test or something. I don't understand it all.
Shelby, have you all dealt with
Yes,
this?
we have.
Go ahead, if you wanna speak.
Yes, we have, I'm gonna let Ron come in
Okay.
Well, I
and
was
speak.
just gonna say,
I didn't know
Grant
if you wanted to, I
Belcher,
was gonna give you a chance.
Yeah, we
I
were
appointed
working
him
on
as
it.
the Sandlick representative, so you know that.
He
For
called
the
me
PSA.
last week, yeah, Grant did call me, yes.
The one thing I was thinking about in this, with everything going on with this core project, that whole sewer system's gonna be something that probably will have to be addressed, cause the
Got to
water
be moved
treatment
on it,
plant's in the hazard zone too, or the floodway. So there could be something to look at. We need to talk with Ron, is there gonna be, what's gonna happen with that? Is there some things that we can do to mitigate these problems in the future along with that?
We have had some issues with right-of-ways going into that.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah,
home down
we've
there.
had some issues with right-of-ways.
Yes.
I'm gonna let Ron speak on it
But
when he comes in.
what I'm concerned with is that when that raw sewage is bubbling up in the river,
Oh, I agree.
it,
And it has been an ongoing problem, because Dennis used to call me and so did
It
you.
don't happen all the time. It just,
Yeah.
I've heard it, when they hooked Clinchco onto it and they hooked up Centennial Heights, somehow they must be a flow meter and it only comes down ever so often. When it comes down, our sewer line in Hayside, right in front of Bartley Street, cannot handle it. And it overflows in the river.
If I may say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I worked at the health department for 34 years. This has been an ongoing problem 20 years ago. There's a smell comes off from Centennial Heights. The sewer, when it was connected onto the Hayside, the sewage treatment plant, I've been there many times on the problem you're talking about. The water, when it stops up, when the line stops up, they have manholes down through there and they overflow. Thus the raw sewage on the ground. The agency I would think would be most dealing with that would be DEQ.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
That would set them as a violation. Now, I talked to the environmental health manager for the Dixon County Health Department Sunday night about this problem. And, because I know it's been an ongoing problem, and it is a problem. He told me he smelled sewer, the smell of sewer, it's hydrogen sulfide sewer in the town of Hayside.
Yeah.
And his suggestion was to fix it would be to put a treatment plant up on where the Centennial Heights is.
And
then nothing
Hayside,
but
or
water.
Clinchco and-
Yeah, it would treat the sewer and nothing but water would come down.
Yeah.
But he has Ron's got a very valid point, because with it, I don't know if the Hayside, so the sewage treatment plant down there, Clinchco hooks onto it, Hayside hooks onto it. And McClure is the only big, or for a large community that we have that goes into the river. Martinstown, I'm sorry, not Martintown, but Trammell has their own sewage treatment plant. So that would be one way of fixing that problem. And I know you all have a problem.
But even if the Corps does buy those homes out,
I was just
then
gonna-
in some of the, in Dollar General and everything going to go up to where the high school is now?
Don't know for sure what's
I've
gonna
heard
happen with that.
that. Yeah, it's rumored that
Every
some
bit of this-
business is going to go up there, so that's going to be more
He's got us a
sewage
letter.
above us again.
I know, the thing is, all this with the Corps is voluntary. And I think those houses you're talking about, the Corps is gonna be approaching those houses too.
Yeah, they've already approached me.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and it's
Yeah.
voluntary, but also they have to do a sanitary eval to make sure everything's sanitary, and I would think this would something you could kinda raise an issue on there too as well, because,
I know Audrey Stapleton, that she just bought the little rig caboose and she's got
Yeah.
it fixed up beautiful.
yeah,
She said she couldn't stay one night herself, or she had to open the door to
Yeah.
even stay in it herself.
Dennis always had problems with
And,
that.
she said, I've got it on Airbnb and I've had several renters already. She says, if I get one complaint, she says, I can close my doors because I'm ruined.
Yeah.
And if these people that's floating the river, if they come down and see this raw sewage coming up, it's gonna ruin all of our tourism.
Well,
in
let's,
town.
Ms. Rose, I don't wanna cut you short if there's anything else you wanna, but I wanna get Mr. Phillips, the
Okay.
PSA director in here.
Yeah.
Cause that's who really, I mean, we don't have, that's who we're gonna call.
Yeah.
So if he's here, if you
Yeah, he
don't,
was in the room with me.
if you don't mind, or if you wanna show us that, I'm happy to
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, I
But we're
wanted
gonna
to
get him
just,
in here next.
That way you can tell what you have to.
What Ron's saying,
We're
they
not-
might have to move the sewage treatment plant down there.
We're
Yeah, they might.
We're not ignoring the
all that's gotta be
problem.
looked at.
We're not ignoring the
No, we're
problem.
not in there. You don't know, the sewage treatment plant, I think probably is at capacity.
I'm sure with the jail, can you imagine?
Yeah, the jail.
Well,
Well, there's 500
And
people.
I've got mixed signals on whether it's capacity, because some of it may be because of these being open and stormwater invasion.
That's the big thing, manholes maybe not being sealed correctly. and it's letting water-
And I'm not
she's-
saying
you got-
necessarily from that. Ron knows more about it than I do.
Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah,
But the
but
thing is,
we're
of course,
aware
a
of
lot of
it.
that could change some of it.
That's right, they might have to move the whole sewage treatment plant.
I didn't know if y'all knew.
All right, Mr. Chairman, are you ready to hear Mr. Phillips?
Yes, please.
Could you ask Mr. Phillips to come in, please?
Well, I don't know what she's talking about. I've seen them before.
Let me see.
Miss
Oh,
Rose,
yeah,
up,
that's terrible.
If you would step out, Ms. Rose, up to the door, you can stand out and
Okay.
listen, but Ron's gonna come up, Mr.
Very
Phillips is,
bad.
and just step out there and you can listen to hear him, or you can go back down and listen
We
in the
know
room,
it's bad.
28.
my district.
Yeah, I think so.
But you have to
Believe-
go outside. But you can stand outside the door, bad as that sounds, but that's what you have to do.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Ron, there you go. Hey,
Howdy. Pretty good, how you, Ron?
Hey, from the speech we just heard, you need taller boots from what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything that Ms. Rose said is totally true.
Yeah,
Totally true. We had this problem in 1988. It hasn't gone away, it's gotten better at times. It's totally, here lately, for whatever reason, we have had some discharges, and the thing that you said, Rhonda, I report every discharge. If they call me or I see it, I send one of them in.
DEQ, yeah.
It's reported to DEQ. Now, the beauty of that is, now we have a notice of violation, which puts us up, as you well know, in the capacity, maybe we can go out and solicit for some funding and some design work. Try to make this better. My heart goes out not only to Miss Rose, but I look at those younger couples down there, young enterprising couples, and I told them I was gonna fix it. It's not gonna happen overnight, but I'm gonna bring some people in and we're gonna look at all the alternatives. Moving the site, if you remember, Rhonda, it was originally up there. That's the last thing
They have a
they
treatment
want,
plant up there, yeah.
but that's an option.
Yes, it is.
That's an option, and quite
You
frankly,
need an engineer.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, and we plan on getting that, but I have been already soliciting for some local monies. I think I have their interest. I have some ideas that we can do, what I'm calling in the next quarter, that might help, can't hurt. We're already feeding some enzymes back at the Bartley pump station. And if you ever go to that station, and I suspect there's at least one person that has, the integrity of that solution is, it reminds me of the Beverly Hillbillies when it perks out. It is so septic. It's no wonder that Miss Rose and all of her neighbors down there have these issues. Our board, and Shelby's on it, is totally committed to making it right. Now, there is some interference with that. All those houses are on the map to be considered.
yes. And so is probably the treatment facility in Hayside.
There
You
will
need
have to
check
be.
on that.
Yep, and.
Maybe
you know,
there's a solution that if they gotta do something there that can fix it all.
Right. But I think it's our best interest to keep everybody we hear. That's the thing I love about Dixon County. The people that are staying have a deep resolve into making our community better. And we've got some great people here. We don't want any more brain drain. I think what we ought to pledge to do, and our board has done that, is to make it the best it can be until we find out what the final solution is with the Corps. I don't want to tell these people, well, I can't do anything till the Corps comes, because you know that's probably going to be a 3 to 5 year process. I'd say every bit of it. And then what happens if one resident decides to stay? So it is a complex problem, but it definitely stimulates me. And it's got our men, we have spent, you have to talk about COVID. You know, that's a COVID situation that you have to really be careful. We use all the PPE equipment, but COVID definitely can be relayed through wastewater. I mean, it's there.
Everybody's home, right, I see what you're
It's
saying.
totally there, but that doesn't stop us. We have a job to do.
There's something I wanted to mention. I think, I could be wrong, but I think those houses are slated for acquisition.
That whole line is.
Yes.
I actually have the
And
map
it's
on my.
voluntary, so I don't know what they're gonna do, cause that'll kind of determine their look at those places. But
Correct.
the treatment facility does more than just down in the Hayside main town area.
All of Clinchco.
So you've gotta look at what's gonna be done with that, and that solution might be able to be structured in a way that it corrects the problem. Because we definitely, regardless of whether the houses stay or go, we
Right.
want the sewer thing fixed.
Well, the
so it's
jail's
not
gonna
going in
always
the
be
river.
there. I mean, it's not going anywhere.
Now,
Yeah.
Ron, don't we have some issues on right-of-ways up through there also?
Yeah, and you made mention of that, Shelby, and the pivotal area of Bartley Street that we could really go in there and really clean up our lines, we don't have access to. And that creates, it reduces our capabilities to do what we need to do.
Right now.
And we'll never get access to it without condemnation. And I don't even, you know, we just
We're
want
going
to
that
do
process.
everything we can so, to keep and retain the people down there and give them a quality of life. And they've been great. You know, I think, I can't imagine some of the times when the ceiling's low, and that's another thing about Dixon County, if you live, and I do, in a bowl area, and you have, you know, the environment, the ceiling lays there, when the gas is gonna, you know, go up into the environment, but you hope it dissipates, but some of these muggy, low-lying ceiling days, it just hangs. So they've got my personal number. I've been down there the last 2 Sundays. I can't do much for, you know, immediate correction, but I think we've got some good ideas. We've got a good team, got a great board, and we're gonna pursue every outlet that we can to improve the situation. That's really all we can do at this point.
Yeah, and I know that it's been ongoing, I know that.
But DEQ does know, they're very aware of the fact, have good rapport with them, that there's an issue. I'm supposed to meet with them, but ironically, there's no meeting. So we'll probably be doing a Zoom meeting next month. I have to go over with them the processes of what we're gonna attempt to do, and the first one, you know, will be try to cleanse the line a little better than we have, but it's almost impossible without getting in at that pivotal manhole. And, you
Is
know,
it just too much flow? I mean, is that the problem? I mean, or what's the
There-
problem?
Takes a weird bend
Runs
too.
off the solids, the way it is.
It's so funny, you know, this line has been moved. This is not where it originally came down, so from day one, really, it was an issue. It was moved, and I want to say it's Belcher Drive, over at what I call the nucleus of the bottom. Well, they had the same problem, so we moved it back over toward the high school, and then we moved it again back over to Bartley Street. So the problem is, we gotta fix what's coming off that mountain and from Clinchco. And it doesn't matter where you put it, somebody's gonna get that odor. You don't want it in the town, you don't want it in Bartley Street, you don't want it in Fort Bottom. So we have to work on some options to try to improve, the quality. I mean, it's just totally septic. It's as black of solution as I've ever seen in wastewater. I mean, it's dead. So there's not much, there's not much you can do. We have to go upstream and try to do some things, so.
I think it's a matter of, it's so steep coming off through there that the water outruns the solids, it stops up, and then it goes septic.
Yeah.
And,
we've had more blockages come off that mountain than a little bit. I mean, we average probably 1 or 2 a year. And, so there is some things, we got to do some soul searching, and,
so what is your solution right now? What are you gonna do? What's your steps that you're?
this is my only, I'm not getting a lot of support with some of my colleagues, but I would like to put some aeration in the Bartley, wet well to freshen it up. It works in every treatment plant I've ever been around. You always have diffusers that bubble and keep and revive some of those dead bugs, try to make them aerobic from anaerobic, because they're definitely anaerobic and dead now. I thought for, what little bit of money you're talking about, that would show a lot of good faith. I think it would be a quicker solution than going to the redesign and all that of whether we relocate, whatever. That would be my suggestion. And we are feeding an odor NOx, which is not just a smell thing. It's supposed to liven up that area, but it's just gotten so bad, I don't know that any enzyme's gonna be able to turn it around.
Isn't there a big pot of money with Cumberland Plateau right now that's available for wastewater?
Not anymore, we spent it.
Okay.
But we've got some good fillers. I'm having some great dialogue with some
determined.
people. But, the key is there, anything you do there, you're looking at probably next summer.
All right.
I'd really like to do something for these folks sooner than later, because with them having some commercial and residential prosperity down there, it's a nice neighborhood. And you want to do what you can, and I know everybody in this room wants to do that, so that's.
I think you're right, Ron, you need like a quick fix,
Right.
but
And it won't be the total solution.
No, but I said the other stuff on the core thing because I anticipate that there'll have to be some long-range plan to fix that situation. And you could probably get a real build restructuring thing going with that. 'Cause unless I'm wrong, I may be wrong on it, but I thought your guys were slated to be a part of this flood control too.
And we are, and I've had dialogue with the Corps and actually sent them the first round of some of our customer base they have every name in the town of Hayside that's on their sewer. So they'll be the people that they didn't have listings for, they'll contact them. Then Cassie was good enough to make me some great maps that had been worked on for years with their county engineer, and so it's good that we have that dialogue and hopefully build rapport with those folks, and maybe they'll expedite the process of moving forward with whatever plan they come up with.
Yeah.
I got one question just for my own personal thing. What is the treatment plant is it at capacity?
It is at capacity with what we call I&I, and you're one of the few that inflow and infiltration. True flow down there, a good number, well, I'm talking about sewage only with no river water, which is, you don't find that in the real world, is probably about 90,000 gallons. It's a 200,000 gallon plant.
So you get 90,000 a day?
Get a lot more than that like today, because you've got stuff coming in from storm gutters, you've got stuff coming in through the manholes. It's just really hard
And the
and
capacity
draining.
is what, Ron? What's the capacity? 200,000?
Yeah.
So, there's been talk of McClure
Yeah, well, that,
connecting to that.
we had talked a lot about doing just a separate system at McClure, but ironically, I have that mapping and all of Church Street, if they so desire, it will no longer be Church Street. They're all on it, every one of them, because I have an employee that lives on it, and,
The houses on the upper side aren't on that map, are they? It's just the lower,
correct.
yeah,
On the hill, probably would not.
yeah.
I don't think, and they basically base it on the floodplain, but
Yeah.
all the ones right, on the right-hand side of the road. And maybe some on the left, I'm not sure about that. So I've taken way too much time, and I appreciate you letting me come in and,
Thank you, Ron.
we're
Thank you,
gonna
Ron.
work
Yeah, thank you.
diligently in trying to find the solution.
In Reno.
I'm totally
Thank you.
I don't know
appreciative
how
of you
they-
coming.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ron.
Ron,
Merry Christmas.
Ron, you may want to come to some of the Flood 202 meetings there. And so I think it would be helpful to you to know what's going on with the Hayside Flood Project.
Sure.
They intend to have that project completed within 4 years or sooner.
It's ambitious, that would be awesome.
And they're mandated by law to do it in 4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
Has the clock started?
It started.
It's incredible.
That's good.
'Cause it seems like
Isn't-
it took Grundy a lot longer than that.
No, they've got a special team working on it, and they're doing the real estate component now. And I anticipate
First Thursday.
that there will be, at some point in time, once all the Tyler work is done, they got their own Tyler team,
Email.
and they'll be making offers, and so it's going to move pretty quick.
We'll be there. Thank you very much.
Our
Ron.
teleconference calls with the Corps on that 202 has been being the first Thursday at 1 o'clock by,
I'll reach
But-
out to the Corps guy, give him your email, and that'll send you an
I'm
invite.
talking to a Mr. Hill, I think there's 2 of them on property and probably a dozen somewhere else, so
There's all kinds of,
that's what I thought. Thanks, Ron.
thanks.
Thanks,
you.
Ron, for coming.
Do you want to have her come back in? or-
No. I don't think
Well, I
she
think we
needs
should be courteous.
Want to let her come back?
You want to
I
let her
think
come
she's
back?
Hey,
gone.
Chief, would you ask Miss Rose to come back, please?
to.
Oh,
That's
she
what I
left.
figured she
Okay.
I
left.
didn't think she would need to.
All right. I don't think we need any sort of action on that, so we'll move on to item number, well, is there any further discussion on that from anybody? Move on to item 6 now, Mr. Moore's report.
well, while I'm doing that, I think take one and pass that down. First, I'll cover your packet information, which is your year-to-date financial summary, which is the current fiscal year, which began July 1st of 2020 and will end on June 30th of 2021. We are still, of course, with our meetings early and then still going through our audit, we're still a little lagged, so we will be looking at the month of October this month. The general county fund for the month of October revenue was $1,358,668. Expenditures were $2,095,137. Year-to-date, as of the end of October, revenue was $6,732,871. Expenditures were $11,822,756. For the local coal and gas road improvement fund for the month of October, revenue was $202,771. Expenditures were $83,168. Year-to-date, revenue was $1,126,669. Expenditures are $501,945. E911 fund for the month of October, revenue was $21,184. Expenditures were $42,961. Year-to-date revenue, $86,430. Expenditures are $194,945.
Keep thinking that gap's gonna close at some point.
Well, we keep
but
going the
it's
wrong
really
way,
not.
but you should hope November will start the trend, and
We'll start seeing it a
December
little
should
bit.
finish it. That's a big gap to cover, but
My goodness.
we have made up $4.5 to $5 million gaps before in 2 months. So it just depends. It depends on what your collection window looks like.
Has the collections been relatively good?
From the brief discussion I had with the treasurer, yes.
Okay.
So, again.
All the taxes is due December
just the-
5th.
I would go out on a limb and continue to venture the guess that your severance is creating a larger gap than typical. I will tell you, I did get November severance numbers today. Coal continues to be about what we had estimated it to be, and gas actually rebounded during the month of November. So first step in the right direction is to find 1 month where you got it. Now let's see if it sustains it. So
The big gap to
that's a
close.
big gap to close. And, you know, again, when I showed you the projection last month, gas could be as much as $1 million off. That's a large gap, but you finally had a month where the numbers were trending in the right direction. So November's severance number looked better.
Is there any further questions or discussion on the?
So are we still $1 million behind what we were last year?
More than that potentially?
More than that by now, I guess.
Well, typically, right now, when you're looking at that end of October number, that gap usually is $4 to $4.5 million at this point, and that gap right there is right at 5.1. So yes, that extra severance gap is causing some problems for you, but there's also a lot of normalcy in that gap because, I mean, you just don't have any revenue. You don't have a revenue collection window
Until
in June,
December
in July,
5th.
August, September, October. You just don't have a stream. You also pay a lot of stuff out annually in July and August. You just have a lot of
Right after
front-loaded
the
stuff.
budget.
So you play behind for a while. As I told you before, that post-December number, which you should get in January, that will be the first real test of how far behind you are. Because at that point, you always hope to be break even or better.
You
If
should
you're
have all your
lagging
real estate and
behind,
personal
you're
property
probably
in.
gonna have to look at, you know, some modifications in order to try to balance that budget before spring. I would say this, $5.1 million is a large gap to fill. But if your gas severance would ever stay consistent at, I think it was $130,000 for November. If it would get to that level and stay at that level, that would go a long way toward helping you balance this out.
Maybe we'll have a cold winter.
Well, usually, we used to look at gas severance, 100,000 was low, 120 was average, anything
Yeah.
above that was good. You had 130 in November, however, you gotta remember, you looked at a couple of months where you had 40, 50, 30s. Those numbers were gonna throw you well off your pay. So. And gas is a monthly thing, it's not like coal. Coal has a trend to it. Normally takes a little while for it to ebb and flow. Gas can be up and down every single month. It just changes with the market.
So if the gas stayed at $130,000 a month for 7 months, that'd be $900,000.
Well, I think, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I think we had used $1.5 million for gas. You have to be in that 125 range, and if you're at 130, you're okay. You're hitting that.
But average.
But
is
the
what you're
problem
saying.
is, you're already gapped out for 4 months before that.
40,000.
That you're behind.
You're behind.
So, chasing numbers, but your December numbers will be the first real shot at how you perform, and you won't have those probably until late January.
But this is as of October. What's
Yeah.
on this record is for October.
Yes, and I
That's
have
what I
not,
made a
and
note
I did not get to see November's numbers other than the severance numbers, because she had given me those. Again, we're still chasing an audit and with CARES and a few other things, we're running just a little bit behind. I'll go ahead and give you the snapshot of CARES. The handout I gave you is basically the summary sheet of our current status. Again, the two numbers to focus on the most are the two yellow numbers. The yellow number at the top is the amount of money remaining in the bank. And the yellow number at the bottom is what I would call, again, this is sort of your committed
just
amount of numbers.
Captured them.
We've had to make a couple of changes. Probably the most notable one, if you look under the county tab, the item that says infrastructure plexiglass server room. I don't know that we're gonna have all of our invoices in order to meet the December timeline on that. So I potentially, for right now, moved those items over to possibly the general fund having to cover. But if you happen to get another round of CARES Act, those items could be paid, could actually be reimbursed back to the county down the road if they needed to be. We ran into a problem, the glass company ran into the problem with supplies. I mean, just all at once, they went from having very little plexiglass and get that type of installation to have that they suddenly skyrocketed up. So they've had some supply problems. So in looking at the big picture, the items that we currently have slated to reimburse, the first 10,000 up there is for our COVID-related sick time among our employees. If you remember the federal, Bud, you'll have to help me with the acronym, whichever that act created that we could, an employer was able to reimburse itself for COVID-related time off for their employees. This is the last set that we had. It's right at, and it's like $9,700. I still have another employee out there, so I held this $10,000 estimate. There's some legal work that Freddie Mullins has done for us mainly on the broadband and on the small business assistance. That invoice is to be paid. We still have the outstanding request from Clintwood Rescue Squad for their grant match. I'd spoken to Ron Kendrick last week. He said that at this point in time, they actually had put in roughly $70,000 of their own money in order to get the vehicle and also buy a few other items that they needed to complete the vehicle. And he said that at this time that they would still like to have the 50,000 request, but would be appreciative of anything that the board would give them. But he said they would still like to see.
So the town hasn't responded?
The town's, what I still understand, the town's basic response was that the county was going to pick up the tab for this, and that I guess they've left it to us. That was what I was told.
But we never said that.
Well, I don't want to go down that road again, so let's
It was a misunderstanding on my
not.
part.
We have a request from the PSA. They have a small amount of PPE and also have, like us, have some limited time among their employees and a small legal bill. That's $2,300. And then you have your Comcast Broadband, which I don't know if you all have had a chance to look at all the email exchange over that. We have been trying, and Mr. Phillips can probably talk about this one a little better than I can. There's been a lot of dialogue in the last week with Comcast as far as getting in place contractual language that both parties are comfortable with in order to complete the task. I think one thing that came to our mind, we had been told that would be 10 direct home hookups for $23,500. There are not 10 specific homes identified yet. There was going to be 3 separate contracts. One was for one home, one was for a batch of 3 homes, and one was for another batch of 6 homes in certain areas where they knew there was a cluster of residences that they were that close to. And Mr. Phillips, if you've got something you'd like to add here, because I have not been involved with the Comcast discussion because I've been trying to finish up everything else. So I really wasn't that involved with Comcast.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the contract will be completed, or is completed. Those contracts will be going out to Comcast for their approval, and once they approve it, the funds will be paid out by January 15th to them. And the terms and conditions of the contract are acceptable that we have in place. And basically, it will serve, the lines will serve those areas that were anticipated. And so the lines will be laid and services will be offered up to 10 homes.
Thank you. I know how we kind of,
I wanted to,
that was done quickly this week, and I appreciate both you all on that.
any internet's a win, broadband, and I'll state that up front. But when we visited this to begin with, the intent was, I thought, to get internet, broadband to these children for the schools. We don't even know if we have citizens signed up for this, let alone whether there's children involved. Yeah, it just,
I agree, Ron. It's
mind-boggling.
been extremely frustrating.
Well, I will say, what I say, in working with a Comcast, you're working with a multi-billion-dollar
yeah.
national chain. That's not like picking up the phone, calling
Yeah,
Kenny
they're
Hill
not
and
gonna
having a discussion.
respond immediately.
Kenny Hill, you can say, listen, I'd like you to specifically look at these 7 homes. Go talk to them. Comcast does not operate that way. The guy that you've been dealing with is out of Tennessee?
Knoxville.
Knoxville.
I know, Ron. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I'm not saying pull back, I'm
So
not at
the
all.
problem in dealing with
Very
Comcast is
frustrating.
you don't drive the bus the same way that you might drive the bus talking to a local provider. Even if it was a Scott County Telephone Co-op, we have a good enough relationship, we could say, listen, we would seriously like you to talk to these 7 people. It doesn't work that way with Comcast.
No, they're.
And even
big
the
jobs.
guy that Mr. Phillips has been dealing with, he doesn't know, he doesn't know this area. He has no idea. He's got a map, he's got little data points, and that's all he knows. That's all that he knows. He doesn't know anything specific beyond that. And so what they tell you is, we'll send our field techs out later to go speak to these people and look at it and evaluate it, and at that point in time, we'll put the final in concrete. Because we tried to push them for more detail and basically got pushed back on to say, we can't provide more detail. This is as tight as it's going to be for right now. So it is the difference in working with local versus working with this type of entity.
But I think, Mr. Chairman, that it's as good as it can get under the circumstances.
Yeah.
And I anticipate that the contract will be signed and the payments will be made, and at some point in time, connections will be made. But they don't even have, Comcast I don't think they even have any offices locally anywhere in Southwest
So they
Virginia.
closed the Norton office.
They closed the Norton, and so you have to deal with outside area, and the county administrator's outlining the issues and problems, because they're just not gonna send anybody in here to do the work until we have in place the contract, and then they'll send their people out to do all the due diligence to get the cable laid and the hookups, and the services rendered. So they're committed to doing that.
Do you need any action?
Well, the only other thing there are 2 items. I want to make sure we're all comfortable with the Comcast arrangement, because I know the way it has worked out by detail is not exactly the way that we probably would have painted the picture.
We have voted on it, right?
But that commitment was made, we followed through with that commitment, and it does feel like we at least have enough contractual language in place for everybody to be comfortable.
We
that it
need
will
to
get done.
press with it.
So the 23.5, the items that I think need to be considered is, we need a formal vote on the Clintwood Rescue grant match.
I would think that we give them half, because we gave them their funding
Almost
from their
400,000.
COVID. And they should have used some of that, and I think that we go to 25 and let them come up with the other 25.
I agree.
I agree.
You want to put that in the form of a motion?
I would like that vote.
I'll put in the form of motion that we give them 25,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to give them more, but I guess some of it might be, and they took what I sort of said and run with it at the town hall, but I would like to give them more, since we don't have a COVID ambulance in the county. This will be the only one.
Or do you want to make a substitute?
So
motion?
what did they do with their money we gave them?
I don't know what.
How much
the
did we
town
give the
took.
town of?
Almost
Clinton?
400,000?
The town,
Three something.
well, the
I don't
town
know
got
what they did.
190 some thousand.
Oh, I thought they got more
195,000,
than
wasn't it?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Huh?
They were larger, but.
It's 195.
About 195.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and second. Do we have a substitute motion? No. No, yes.
No.
Okay. All those in favor of giving the town of Clintwood $25,000 toward the purchase of a new rescue squad, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well.
Okay, the other item is, we've had the 4-H request in front of us, probably one of the first requests I had, and we had done some homework as far as the other counties of what they had done. I think that if you had seen the last follow-up email that we received from, I cannot remember her name.
Kelly?
No.
Okay.
No, not Stephanie.
She's been persistent, I'll give her that.
Yeah.
Well, she has been super nice to work with. I've worked with her before. Basically, I think localities' numbers seem to fall somewhere between, I think Wise County was like the high at 26.6. I think that the low was like $7,500 from, I want to say that was like Grayson or one of those type counties, one of those smaller ones. Their request was for $15,000. I don't know from the localities that I looked at that anyone paid the full amount of what they were asked. I personally think, you know, we always try to be a good partner. I was thinking something between $7,500 and $10,000 seems appropriate, but, you know, this COVID CARES Act money is, you know, our communities have started to see the real hit from that. We are still working with our local, we daily work with our local nursing home, trying to make sure that they had everything they could possibly need in order to help out. But I also understand entities and agencies like 4-H. 4-H does a lot of stuff, you know, in this county. You know, we have an agent of 4-H, you know.
I don't have a problem with your recommendation, other than I want to make sure there's nothing more, you know, like with Heritage Hall and all these other things. Is there's we're covering everything we should and must.
Well, here's what I would say. If we knew something were going to come up, what I would then recommend is like that $10,000 up at the top. There's most likely another round of CARES money coming to the locality. They, you know, there will be a finalized agreement worked out between the feds and the state at some point. That's a top item you could drag to that next window, because you're seeking reimbursement for something to cover a benefit that you had to pay. There are ways, and as I close this out with Mr. Barton, we'll find the way to. We will ultimately use all the money. It's just yet how every dime will get spent, we probably won't know until we were given until January 15th to close all this out now. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I give Cindy, you know, what we've talked about here tonight, give her those checks. I'll do another update to this. And, you know, we're to the point now, it's just about keeping a little bit of money for the emergency items. If the nursing home comes up and says, man, we're in dire need of something that's going to cost us $15,000, we have $15,000 to give them.
I think 5,000 would be a nice gesture. Do you think that's too little?
What did
I'm
you
totally
say?
okay. I'm totally okay
For
with
the
anything.
4-H?
You know, I look at the number of kids that we have sent to camp versus
Well, that's what
the
I was
number of-
wondering.
You know,
What, and I know you probably don't have that number, and I don't expect you to.
I based it kind of off the fact, with Wise County, we're roughly a third the size they are, not only in population, but in student population. So if they're at 26,000, then, you know, taking a third of that puts us in that $8,000-9,000 threshold. That's kind of where my thought process was.
Mr. Moore, can we make a motion to give the 4-H 5,000 now and review that again when we get another round of COVID?
You could do that.
That's a good idea, I think.
That
leaves you
that is-
enough
You're
to-
right now to the point, I would like to see you leave a little bit for the case of emergencies and or other things that come up.
Because we've got one more month.
So how much we got left? 104,000?
That's all that we have left in the bank. Yep.
Well, I learned something the other day that I was worried about the vaccine. You know, we did appropriate money for
For
a
the cooler.
cooler for the, I learned that each health department in our district is getting one of those coolers. So because they got some CARES Act money. So
Right,
that
well-
will help when we get, Lord be willing, we get that
It
vaccine.
is, and I will say that as our health department has been overrun, the health wagon reached back out to us and said that if we had anything or anyone that needed to have like a rapid a COVID test, that if we would call them, they will do a drive-through up here. Like if I had employees that had a contact, I needed to send them up there. I mean, the health wagon and the health department have both stayed in constant contact with us. I know that there's some reservation about the health wagon based off, you know, they're a different type of entity. It's not like dealing with a state agency. You're actually dealing with a business. But I will say they have, especially with their facility right here in the park, that is a nice thing to know, as opposed to us having to send an employee or someone to Pikeville or to
Grundy.
Grundy, that we can make a phone call and let them go right
Well,
over
then you
here.
can get the rapid
It's
test
a
up
nice
here.
gesture on their part.
No,
They,
they don't have
I
it.
will say both parties have reached out to us numerous times to make sure that.
They're not gonna
that
get any
they're
more till
gonna help us
February.
as much as they can.
Does either one of those have rapid testing?
I think it just depends on supply and demand.
Oh,
I think
the health
from
department,
time to
I don't know
time,
about the
they
health
run
department.
low on, it just depends. You know, I don't want to sit here and say that I
Yes, they
understand,
do, or no, they don't, yeah.
that I
Okay.
understand how all of it works, but I know that.
Just so you guys understand, the rapid testing isn't as rapid as it was in the beginning,
Gives a lot of faults.
because they're
Really.
backed up.
I
So it's
also
the-
learned that they would like to hire somebody in this county, somebody that was, they're gonna pay them $25 an hour for enforcement on the mask and the gatherings. They would prefer somebody that had some law enforcement experience.
I wouldn't do that for $1,000.
I wouldn't
an hour.
either, but, you know,
I like money, but I-
they've not had nobody take it,
No
but.
thanks.
I wouldn't want to do that either, but they have, they've sent, like David, they sent NOV about one of our businesses here about not having masks on, so they are being told to enforce it more than they have in the past.
Ms. Willis, do you want to make a motion on your,
5,000.
I will make a motion that we give the 4-H right now 5,000 and review it if we get another
Okay.
round of CARES
is there
money.
a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As well.
So what I'll do, I'll have Cindy process the check for 5,000, and I will send an email to I kind of wish I could remember her name.
I can't remember.
The 4-H lady, and let her know that what we've done, that you're releasing 5,000 now, and that if there's a future round of CARES Act, that you all will
Review
revisit
it.
the remaining part of the request at that time.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, for the board's information, the reason why the freezer was so important for the health wagon is that the county is going to be very unique in that the county will have potentially access to multiple sources of vaccine that other citizens will not have. There will be a source of vaccine coming to Walgreens. There has been, as my understanding, the contract with Walgreens to provide that vaccine. The health department is also going to have a stream of vaccine from a different source, from the state of Virginia for vaccine. And the health wagon will also have a different source of vaccine coming from a different set of distributors that's associated with free clinics. And so the county will have an opportunity to have multiple locations to receive vaccinations that a lot of other counties will not have. A lot of rural counties are not as well positioned as this county is right now for vaccinations.
That's good enough.
And vaccines start when?
Monday,
Oh, really?
Tomorrow morning for some people.
yes.
My wife's going in the morning.
Is she?
So for the county, I mean,
It's just, they're gonna do the
I think
food
she-
service and,
They have a priority list.
Yeah.
Who will get first.
yeah.
But when all those priorities are taking place, those vaccines will start flowing through Walgreens for the public,
she had it on?
through the health department for the public as well. I'm sure the
Will
health
do
department's gonna be
within
doing
90
a lot of
days.
vaccination for nurses and doctors and healthcare workers and the nursing homes. And then also you have the health wagon is gonna have the ability to store as well, those vaccines. And
All
so-
right. I don't know if anybody else has seen the agenda, but we've got a lot of chugging to do. It's already getting late, so is there anything else, David?
No.
We're gonna be home by
just-
12 o'clock.
did Ron have
Just
something?
Just
Ron,
remember
you want to say
to,
something?
to vote on my report, that's all that's left, because, I'll send out an updated, I'll get those posted when I send those checks to Cindy, and I'll send you.
You don't need to vote on that Comcast?
We've already voted on it.
You've already, I mean, that's already,
Okay, all right.
that's already.
Which has been highlighted is why I asked.
Do we need a motion for Mr. Moore's report also?
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I
you
will
have.
make a motion that we accept his report as presented.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and I seen, you said, Ron, but what, are you on the agenda, or what was you need? Or what was he, you said,
I don't know.
I'm not on the agenda, no, sir. I just want, if you had just a minute, I will take.
yeah, I'll indulge you, absolutely.
Okay. I was working in Buchanan County today, and I was listening to your all's meeting on the way in. I was trying to get here.
So we were on the radio?
Well, on YouTube.
YouTube?
Oh, yeah, you can stream it.
Wherever.
This is 2021.
Oh, I forget.
Well, I'm surprised you could pick it up. You was on the way from Grundy, you say?
Yeah,
Hit and
I've
miss.
got-
All right, let's go ahead, Ron.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But anyway, I was just wanting to try to get here and see if you had any questions about my request. And like I told David, you know, I appreciate anything and everything that y'all do. And like I said, I appreciate the amount that you have voted to give us. I've been doing this for 42 years, and it's not just for me. You know, I don't do this asking it for me. It's for my community and your community. And everything we get, we try to put right back into it and provide the best service possible for you guys. And but I really appreciate everything that you give us, and you can guarantee it'll be put to good use.
Have you got is the new one here? I thought I seen a new
Yeah.
rescue
New
squad.
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Man,
got
it's sharp.
Yeah, we've got it in
Looks
service
good.
now.
Can we sort of, since you heard, we were gonna give you 25,000 instead of 50 in the CARES Act, could we, if we do get further CARES money, I know, can we consider giving them the full match?
The town will get their share of the next round
I would
also.
give some of the downs to them.
I'm sorry for the mix-up, Ron,
That's why
that
I-
I have seemed to be the center of, and I'm sorry.
It's no problem. I was just gonna tell you what I was, had anticipations. It's not official yet, but I've got some more grant funding coming. We put in for 4 heart monitors and 4 more computers to put on our trucks. And it looks like we're gonna get awarded those. We didn't get awarded the ventilator like I put in for, but we've got about $150,000 in request, and looks like we're gonna get 80% of it through grant funding. So we're gonna take some of this money and match that as well. So
Well, that's great.
I just, like I said, I just wanted to assure y'all that anything you give us is gonna go to good use, you know, and I appreciate everything you done.
I appreciate you, Ron, and
Thanks,
I'm
Ron.
sorry for my part of
That's why
misunderstanding.
we're out, and maybe next year if we get some more, we can find some more to use over there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks.
Thank you, man.
Move on to item number 7, expenditures.
If there's no questions, I make a motion that we pay the bills.
Any questions or discussion? Is there a second to Ms. Willis's motion?
I'll second it.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. And we have item number 8, Sandy Ridge Rescue. They've been on the agenda every month since this year, I believe.
I think he works is the reason I don't know, he may be in the
I don't
room.
see
I don't know where the
Is he?
chief,
See if
Jeremy,
they're on the phone.
Ron
Anybody
had sent
called
me a
him?
message that said that they were on call
oh, they're on the call.
and they probably late getting here.
All right, well, we'll pass 8. We can come back if they come. We'll move on to item number 9. Mr. Phillips, would it be proper to open the phone line for this topic or not? I don't know if for the road
Yeah,
concern,
it
if
would
anybody
be.
wants to
I
come.
thought I
Yeah.
said.
Certainly
Your-
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
certainly your call, Mr. Chairman of the board, so if you
Oh,
wish to
he's
do that,
already
you
on.
may.
Sure, if anybody has a road concern, they can call 276-333-0357.
We had one last month.
And I'll start with Ms. Willis's district, if she would like to say anything, or if there's anybody that would like to call for the Kennedy district. 276-333-0357. Or if anybody's in room 228 with a road concern.
I told you I have them spoiled, they call me at home. I
Move
give them my
on.
phone number.
And if somebody calls late, I mean,
Yeah, we'll take 'em if they call.
Certainly. Clintwood District, you can call 276-333-0357. Ms. Sluss, do you have anything?
I have called twice out here at the technology center where a hoe is on the exit or entrance. Because the part of it's the right of way is on the state right of way, and I've called twice about the hole on Caney Ridge next to B&K.
I believe they've repaired that a little bit.
You think so?
I think so.
I
I
was up
believe they
there,
put a little bit of,
Extra asphalt on?
I think they have. The
Move
last
on
day I
to-
went and picked up the baby, I noticed it was not as bad as it had been.
To the Irvington District. If anybody has an Irvington District road concern, you may call 276-333-0357. Ms. Kaiser, do you have anything?
I haven't had anybody to call. Have a couple of calls for gravel or something, but nothing on the roads for a while.
Mr. Peters, Sand Lake District, 276-333-0357. On you?
No.
Okay. And then the Willis District, last time I'll read the number, 276-333-0357. We'll move on then to item 10. Again, if you have a road concern, you didn't get called in, you can do so now again in the public comment portion of the meeting. Phone number's 276-333-0357. If the sheriff could let the room know if there's anybody in the room with a public comment, they can come in and give their public comment to the board.
They should be able to hear your voice, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Is there any calls, Madam Clerk? Okay. We'll leave it open a minute or two.
In fact, they're able to see you and hear you. And then 228.
Way to go, Aaron.
We're on about a 30-second delay.
Yeah, that's what I figured we were.
Must not have anybody.
If you're just tuning in, again, we're at the public comment portion of our meeting. You can call in at 276-333-0357. Leave this open another moment or two and see if anybody calls.
That's it. That's all the people down the hall. Larry won't say anything.
The twins. Brothers.
They ride together.
Larry and who?
Larry and
They gonna
Gary?
leave together.
Scotty Owen.
Oh,
Larry and Gary, they
No
all-
comment, one of my constituents,
Larry Barton's down there, is that who they're saying?
Yes.
not Larry,
Is
but.
he
Tell
going-
Larry,
Oh, I thought you meant Larry
tell
King.
Larry that Josh
Okay,
didn't
talking about
want to
Larry
hear what
Martin.
he had to say
Is that
anyway.
who he's talking about?
Hey,
I don't know.
fine.
Do y'all want to end public comments? You want to leave it open? then?
Yeah.
If anyone calls, I make a motion that we take them. If they call a little bit late, we'll take them.
So you want to close public comments?
Yeah, let's
But
close
allow a
it.
late, yeah, which we definitely
If we get
will. So
anybody,
got a
we'll
motion to
take.
cease public comments or second?
I second it.
Well, you made the motion.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
second it.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. As well. Move on to item 11, other business. David, is there,
I do not have anything as far as other business.
does anybody have any other business? Hearing none, I'd move on then to item number 12. We have.
Just
I'm
so you
sorry,
know,
go ahead,
for
yes.
the main purpose that we leave other business there is like, we have it immediately following public comment so that you can let them finish public comment, and if there's some rebuttal the
Right.
board needs to make to them, that's why other business typically is right there.
Very good.
Tonight, I didn't have anything, and since there's no public comment, you probably don't have anything, but that's the reason why that's usually left right there.
We have in our packet the 6-year plan resolution that we went over in our public hearing. Are there any motions or discussion
I make a
regarding?
motion that we accept the 6-year plan that was presented tonight.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Motion carries unanimously.
Very quickly, what I want to say about that, and Shelby, well, no, Ron probably not as much. 6-year plan used to actually have real money that flowed through it. It was a good opportunity for the county to fund some of the smaller projects. you see how much money is in it. You can't fund it, even if you took the 5 years or 6 years and added them together, you can barely fund a mid-sized project. What you have to do is keep projects on there, and then as they get, as Shelby said, VDOT will not do any project till it's fully funded. I eventually think they'll do away with this process, but right now, by law, you're required to carry a 6-year plan. That's, you may say, why do we have to vote something like that? That's why. But with each of you going to participate with the Coal Road Committee going forward, that's where you should bring your road ideas and make sure, and then talk to VDOT and see where the best fit is. Sometimes it's better to put one on here as a placeholder, let it draw a little money, then fully fund it down the road. Sometimes you might want to just skip the whole 6-year process and have a project and have them try to put it on one of your annual plans and then do it that way. But you keep a 6-year plan because there is still a small amount of tele-money that comes, but I mean, landlines and that type of stuff just don't exist anymore. So that's why there's hardly any money in there.
Basically, I know this project on Rush Creek is just a leftover funding on another project.
Yeah, I mean, that looks nothing like what it did 10 years ago.
No, it doesn't.
Now, you're just required to do that. It's just one of those things.
David, do you care to elaborate on the next piece, the resolution on the Cumberland Plateau housing?
We could have taken that off.
We no longer need
That was actually going to be something that we were going to be required to do for the DHCD Trammell project, but Mr. Mormon's notified us today that we are actually compliant, so we actually do not need to do that'd be 12B. Sorry, we missed that.
So I'd go to, now, I was a little confused, are we going to approve the COVID plan?
No,
or-
go ahead and do closed session.
All right, we'll go to item 13 then, and I hope Shelby or Peggy took good notes. I know we have the one matter on the economic development, then we had another personnel matter, I think, but if either of you or whoever wants to make a motion to go into closed session, the floor's open now to do that.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-311A, 5, discussion concerning prospective industry or development. And then the next one is 2.2-3711A1, personnel, all departments.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Now in
For some reason I'm lost here.
Okay, I'm ready.
You'll have to come in tomorrow.
Dickinson County Board of Supervisors will now reconvene back into open session. Do I have a motion to certify the matters discussed in closed session?
I make a motion that we only discuss those issues that we went into closed session for previously.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I will make clear for the record that we went into closed session for discussion pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A5, economic development prospect, as well as, I believe, 2.2-3711A8, legal matters.
That was the one we added.
Yes, we went into closed session pursuant to 2.2-3711A5
And 11A1.
and 11A1. Then we came back into open session and added 3711A8, and then went back into closed session. So the matters discussed were those previously mentioned there. So you have a motion, Ms. Willis.
I had a motion that we only went in and discussed those issues.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Ms. Kaiser, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Willis?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
Ayes for me as well. Certification passes unanimous. Any matters or votes taken following closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we give the employees that's on our payroll that have not previously received any hazardous pay or any bonuses, that we give them a $500 hazardous pay for full-time employees, and part-time employees would receive $250. And we exempt all elected officials, and we exempt everyone that's already previously received hazardous pay from the COVID fund, or CARES fund,
Or any other,
or any other organization, I guess, any
Or a
other
second,
Entity.
entity.
And we're already, already employed at March 1st. If they're hired since then, they are excluded.
Exempt. They have to have been here prior to March 1st
Okay.
in order to receive the hazardous pay.
Okay.
is there a
I
second?
will second it.
need to probably add grants or any other grants rather than entities to her
All right.
motion.
Okay. Exempt anyone that's received any other grants
Other than COVID.
other than COVID.
Now, I tried to listen as closely as I could. You didn't include DSS in that motion, correct?
I do want to include DSS
I don't
in the
think we-
motion.
Well, I would ask you, for conflict's sake of myself, to bifurcate. So if you want to make your original motion to exclude DSS, then if you want to include DSS, if you would make a subsequent motion, then I would
Okay.
abstain,
Okay,
if that's okay.
okay, then it's
And I don't
probably
want to
not
make the
going to
motions
pass.
for you, but do you care to do it that way?
I will not, I
All
will,
right, so
yeah,
the motion is
our county employees.
county employees. Is there any further discussion on Ms. Willis's motion? I'm going to do a roll call vote. Ms. Willis,
Aye.
Ms. Sluss,
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser,
I guess.
Mr. Peters.
I can't go for this right now because it was my understanding we're close to spending out all the CARES Act money. We even had to move something that we purchased from CARES Act's money over to the general fund, and we already are still behind on severance tax for the year. I just don't feel comfortable making this commitment. I think if the opportunity comes to us and there's another rollout of CARES Act money, we should explore it then. But at this time, I'll say no.
I think that's really well said, Ron, and I, in my gut, agree with you. However, I understand that everybody has a different role. Some, we don't necessarily see what people have done during this COVID situation, and it's hard. Some people have gotten bonuses, some haven't. In the scheme of fairness, in the scheme of using this CARES Act to help our people, and I think, like Shelby said earlier, we're putting it back into the communities through our employees with their families. I have to vote yes, but I think you really said that well, and I don't disagree with you.
If I can say.
So the motion will pass 4-1. Go ahead, Ron.
The other thing that I was concerned about is we've addressed this kind of stuff twice now. And it was very clear in my language that we nailed down a criteria that we were gonna use to give this money out in the first place. And we didn't get it right the first time, we revisited on an exception, and now we're revisiting to give it to everyone, blanket, so, with the exceptions that were stated. Thank you.
And we had a committee, and we probably should have mandated some sort of written criteria. I don't disagree with anything you said. All right, is there any other motions coming out
I
of
would
closed
like to
session?
make a motion. We gave 20 of the DSS employees hazardous pay,
Those were the high-risk
the
employees.
high-risk ones.
The remainder are medium-risk employees.
I would like to make a motion that we give our medium-risk ones, with the same exception, they would have to be there prior to March 1st. They would have to be full-time to get the 500, part-time to get the 250, and I'm not sure they have any part-time. And I make a motion that we include the DSS.
Is there a second?
I thought that was part of our first motion.
No,
No, it's excluded.
we excluded on account of, Josh couldn't vote for that.
Is there a second?
Is that is about 20 employees, you say?
It'd be about 20 more
So
of
that's
those,
$10,000, or right at $10,000.
probably.
One last call for a second.
I will second it.
Ms. Willis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
Mr. Peters?
And I'm no for the same reasons I stated on the other one.
And I abstain, so the motion will carry 3-1 for Ms. Willis's motion. Any other,
Thank you all. I think that our employees will all appreciate it.
any other matters out of closed session? Hearing none, then I would move on to, I believe, David and Peggy or whoever want to correct me. Item 16, the COVID plan.
Yeah.
And I'll defer to Mr. Phillips on that. I think we've sort of hit on it all night, but is there any changes to what we've currently been working under?
This is our plan to work at home, from home if we have to.
Basically, what I've handed out to you is to go over what we have in place for the COVID plan. You have an ordinance that's in place that allows you to have all virtual meetings. And there is a particular way to call those virtual meetings, and I handed that out to everybody so that everybody can familiarize themselves. So if at some point in time, the chairman in January, February, or March, he finds that the COVID virus has been a real issue or problem in Dixon County and a lot of positive, and it's dangerous for you all to come to these meetings, you can call a virtual meeting. The IT people already set that up pursuant to statute, and what I gave you is the outline that I'd ask that you keep that, where you all can consult that, so that you go step to step, and it takes you step to step on how to call a virtual meeting. That's the first thing. The second thing, in terms of the plan, is that you also have, at the present time, an opportunity to put in place any other measures that you wish tonight, or you have a right to authorize your administrator to put in place any other plans that they feel sufficient, such as work at home, closing of the buildings, which you have. And so that's something that you'll have to think about and how y'all wish to proceed on those kinds of issues in January, February, and March. And, it's anticipated that the COVID infection rate is going to increase substantially after Christmas and about the second week in January. And I think that the board and your county administrator is going to have to play this by ear. And so I guess at some point in time, you have to decide whether you wish to retain the right to make various decisions or you wish to delegate those to your county administrator in terms of working at home for your employees or not working at home, who can work, and leave it up to your county administrator to make decisions on who works, who doesn't work in terms of limitations of the building and closure of the building.
Okay.
So it's something that you all need to think about.
I got something on this. Looking at our audience here tonight, we are there. And we can expect it will probably get worse. I'm getting the impression we're the only county that hasn't switched to virtual meetings at some point in this.
Well, I think it's where we're set up so spaced out that I feel comfortable.
What's that?
I think right now I feel comfortable being here. All of us have masks and we're spaced out good.
We're starting to see some of our family and friends die. And I'm not trying to put a scare out there, but the expectation can be worse. And right now, we don't have an audience, so I don't see where there's harm in doing it virtually.
Does everybody have the technology at home, a camera, a computer? I don't care.
I don't have a camera.
I'm like Miss
You
Willis.
need to be prepared.
I'm like Miss Willis. I'm very comfortable, but I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable
So far, I feel
whatsoever.
comfortable. I don't know.
I really don't think it's,
And we're
As far as I'm
live
concerned,
streaming
it's not a
so
concern to me
people can,
I'm not saying
watch.
there'll come a time we might have to.
right,
do it.
exactly, but
Right now, I feel comfortable, but I
It's
think,
anticipated that all families may not have the ability to receive, but as long as you meet the statute that you are live streaming like you are tonight, and give opportunity for the public to participate, it's certainly legal to do so.
So we could coordinate a Zoom, and then you could launch it from here and put it out on the, so that's no problem.
Yeah, they're
So,
ready to go.
actually, we just
I mean,
need to
we
vote
have
on the
to.
plan, is that correct?
No, you just.
We don't
Well,
need
it sounds
to.
like we are.
It's just for information.
It's information, all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
And how
We've got
much,
all that ready, just pull the
You are,
trigger.
you are set up for any type of meeting you,
Okay.
you need to hold. If it needs to be total virtual with all of you, as long as you have the home technology or the place to be in order to participate with the Zoom meeting, it's good. We're still set up here to where, of course, with the restrictions right now, you can have no audience. I mean, you've got 9 people by the time you count your attorney, your administrator, your clerk, the 5 of you, and an IT person. And Mr. Sheriff back there, you're at 10. So, I mean, as long as the 10 stays in place, there will be no audience.
As far as I'm concerned, whatever a majority of this board wants to do is what, as far as I'm concerned, what we'll do. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion.
But you're prepared for anything.
You have the flexibility and prepare, as the county administrator said, to handle however you wish to handle it. That's
very
what-
good.
how far in advance do you have to make that call to go all virtual?
Well, the guidelines that I passed out to you shows that you've got to give notice, and you got to
Okay.
post it, and you got to do the same things that you do with regular meetings.
Oh, okay.
That it's going to be a virtual meeting, and you got to get information out in the post and on the internet. Try to give as much information you can to get as many people notified that you're meeting virtually, and then he's going to use his technology to put you out there in every home that he can, or every phone that he can, or every
And if you are full virtual, there's the question's been asked about packets. Packets could be distributed all by PDF, which could be sent to you by email. There would actually not be the need to have to come pick up a hard packet if you did go that route. I mean, you're prepared for any scenario at this point.
And at what point would we want to implement it?
That's your.
It would be
That's
it would be the
your
chairman's
call.
call.
Well, like I said,
But what kind of criteria is what I'm saying?
we'll make one. I mean, I don't know.
I think him and the county administrator and Bud could get
I
Well,
together.
think-
like I
think
said,
you
I'm
sh-
not gonna mandate you all come if you don't wanna come. If the majority of the board wants to do it electronically and doesn't feel safe, then that's certainly what I would do.
Well, I'm not saying this just for our meeting. I'm concerned that if people can do their job from home, we should exercise that right now.
Yeah, some of your folks have to come in, not all of them can work.
Not all of them,
Stagger
and not
them and
everything can
everything
be
else.
done at home.
Maybe I'm naive, Ron, but I really don't.
I know Tammy's
don't
been
think we're
coming in
that
working
far,
on the
are we?
budget,
Can
in
you
all
pass
the
me
Fastly approaching it.
We're
Think
down,
so?
we're between positive cases and quarantine by contacts, we're down quite a few employees right now.
I mean, I've been in a courtroom full of people all for 2 weeks. It's not slowed the court system down.
I think,
Right or wrong?
well, I'll go back to our case. Our case downstairs is, there's only one person that does each of those jobs, and you needed to, and we've tried to do our best to make sure that everybody, because if a Karen's out, then you've got a payroll problem. If a Cindy's out, you've got a payable problem. If Teresa's out, you've got just
You
the
got
whole front
phone
issue.
problems.
The office has problems.
Well, we've got a long time
So-
until our next meeting. Our next meeting would be,
January 26th.
so we're gonna have a good
Vaccine.
read on this thing. And
You think
if
we'll
it-
get some vaccine
You just
back?
have to see where this goes.
Yeah,
Right
I'll
now,
be
we're
reaching
down
out, get ours, 'cause
between
we're elderly,
positive
so
cases
we'll
and
get ours.
contacts,
I'm
we're down
elderly
quite a
too,
few
considered
employees.
the.
We're 6 weeks from our next meeting.
Oh, really?
You think we'll get vaccine today?
Either with it or. being-
Yeah, I think we will be.
I
We
think-
Do
also,
you wanna vote on this? Do we need to
No.
vote on this?
No, he said it was the
Informative
information on it.
only. All right, we'll
She
move
asked me how
on.
soon you're gonna get vaccine. I think that you, for you all and the county employees, you got 3 entities that will be offering it. My best estimate that you're looking at late February, early March before you got your vaccine.
If you wanna develop some sort of criteria on numbers or on whatever, then send it to us and we'll do it.
I just think we need to be conscious of it.
Well, we are.
Well, I
And
think,
if these other
I think everybody's
offices are
conscious.
choosing to close down and
It's
do
worse. I think
creative
we
things
do.
to
We'll all
keep the
have to-
workflow going, but
I ain't
David-
gonna, I'm not gonna.
and we've done it, haven't we? I mean,
For the most part, I might have moved a little bit of a different direction in the last month as we've seen days with 15 and 20 cases. And as our employee cases have risen, I mean, that's kind of where it's at. But you know, again, I think you just gotta give, I think as Bud alluded to, you gotta give your administrator some latitude, because this thing shifts really quickly.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you just need to be supportive of whatever needs to be done, and that, and it's easily one of those things that doesn't require board action, it just needs to be in the hands of the administrator to
Well,
say,
I
I
think
need
you've
to do
handled it
that.
pretty well. I mean, we've not tried to micromanage what you've done.
No.
I haven't.
You have.
Well,
You have said things in the
you know,
past.
I felt like there was a little bit of dissension about the decision I had made to keep them staggered, because I saw where we were headed. I was working with Ballard in the health department. And again, just going back through all this, this is a pandemic. This is a once in a lifetime problem. I probably erred on the side of caution more than because of circumstances. It comes back to your people, because a lot of it is, do your employees feel safe? It's not just whether I think they're okay, it's whether they think they're okay. And I think that we've tried our best to manage that. It feels a little like, our cases are so much higher now than they were even when we were working staggered, and honestly, it feels a little backwards to me, but I know that our protocols now we're much better aligned. We've got the office closed off. We've got, the public does not come in. We do everything we can to protect them. But at the end of the day, I just know that our cases among our employees, not just them tested positive, but also the contact tracing. We have started to see more and more employees missing time, as by the fact that we're going to have to reimburse ourselves $10,000.
Well, this is
To
not
cover the
unique to
time off.
Dickinson County, though. This is the whole.
It is.
world.
I'm just saying.
No, but here's the thing, I wasn't expecting us to move to virtual from here on out. But what I want us to be prepared is if and when we need to be able to.
Well, Adam says all he's gotta do is
But
send him
we
a
also
text.
gotta be able to get the word out and stuff. We have people show up here tonight that didn't know they had to wear a mask or they wouldn't be able to sit in here.
Well, I think that order just come down yesterday, didn't it?
Monday
It
night.
came down
But the other part I
Thursday.
wanna share with you
I mean, it
is
started
Going
Monday,
back.
but he made the announcement Thursday.
That's correct.
the planning district has had, I think, only one meeting since COVID hit where it was in person. It's all been virtual. Waste Authority has been resistant to do that, but here this week they've decided to go virtual because of how the situation's getting.
Well, we've got 6 weeks till our next meeting. If you wanna
Yeah.
go virtual, and that's what the majority of this board wants to do, that's what we'll do. I don't really know how else
Well, it's
to
not
say
about
it.
me.
I
I can always
think we
stay
need
home
to
and go
wait
virtual.
closer to time.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're spending so much time on this for.
And I think we need to wait closer time for our next meeting to make that decision.
I agree.
Yeah, I
We have a
wasn't looking to
long-
make some kind of
Let's
decision
move on.
tonight.
All right, item 17, Cumberland Plateau Housing Authority payment in lieu of taxes.
We have a relationship with the Cumberland Plateau Regional Housing Authority. They are the entity out of Lebanon that operates Centennial Heights. Annually, they ask us to waive the taxes on Centennial Heights. We have always done that as a courtesy to them. This year, I believe
If you
it's,
don't, they charge it to the tenant.
They do, and this year it's $518, so the request is to waive their.
I'm
waive
gonna
their
make a
tax.
motion that we waive their payment as we have done in the past.
Is there a second?
I'll give somebody a
Come on,
chance to
people.
second, I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
This is what makes the
All those
meeting
in
so
favor
long.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as
Aye.
well. Item number 18 by my count, is that right, Peggy?
Yep.
Employee contract with Mr. Barton. Has everybody had time to review that contract?
I make a motion that we accept this contract. What else do I need to say, Bud?
Just approve the contract.
Approve the
We approve
contract.
this contract and
Extend an offer of employment.
extend an
to-
offer of employment to Mr. Larry Martin.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any further discussion? Ms. Wills, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
No.
Mr. Peters?
I'm gonna say no because
Oh, my Lord.
the contract I'm fine with.
Jeez.
It's just, since the last meeting, I've had 2 other people contact me asking why didn't I get a chance to get it, put my name in the hat. So at this
Didn't
I have to
want 'em,
vote no.
I didn't want 'em.
Lord have mercy, young.
I vote yes.
Thank you.
I don't like the paragraph 6 in the contract, but I like Mr. Barton. He's an outstanding person. He's gonna do great for this county, and I'm very lucky, I think we're very lucky to have him on board, so. Congratulations, Mr. Barton.
Okay, Mr. Barton will be here on the 21st to start his employment based on your approval tonight.
Move on to item number 19. David, I guess this is some housekeeping for the end of the year here.
Well, this
for this
will
month.
be, this will be, I think, let's see.
You're a
this-
new administrator.
This is some procedural items because I am the signator on many, many, many things. And with the transfer of power, I guess, Mr. Phillips, you can help me here a little bit, but the check signing authority, because that's one of the signatures on
Yeah.
that. We are under contract with the Trammell item, and also I am the signator on all the Core 202 items. Now, those have been items that previously I have been authorized as county administrator to sign, and I think that needs to be extended to Mr. Barton as the new county administrator, because each of these entities should require a formal motion that he will be so you have to do these one by one, but he needs to be authorized as your new county administrator and signator for these items.
That's a good explanation, Mr. Chairman. Excellent explanation, actually.
Is there any motions?
I'll make a
Take
motion.
Number 1, please.
Do
And
what?
mention Mr. Barton's name, the new county administrator
Okay.
specifically.
I make a motion that our new county administrator, Mr. Barton, be approved to sign all checks and disbursements along with the county chairman and the board of supervisors
Treasurer.
and treasurer.
Their second.
Can't we go down to number?
No, he said do them individually.
They need to be one by one because the
second
next
them.
two will
I
go to
second it.
different entities.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well.
Okay, the next one, I make a motion that our new county attorney, Mr. Larry Barton, be approved to sign all contract documents for the Trammell project upon county attorney's approval.
And you meant the county
You meant
administrator. I know you
administrator.
said current attorney, but you meant county administrator,
County,
right?
oh, I'm sorry, county administrator.
There a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Is there a?
Then we have
Okay.
another one, that the county administrator, a motion that the county administrator be able to sign the section 2.2 or 202 flood proofing documents for the Hayside project upon the county attorney's approval.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Item 22 now. That cleans up everything, I think.
Yep, that takes care of all those items.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what this is about.
Why
I
do
don't
we
know,
need
David, if you
to
wanna elaborate.
rescind that?
I'm sorry.
Is that the motion to rescind Board of
Item-
Supervisors 1,000?
I don't know what this is.
I don't
Okay,
know
let
what, they got a vote Thursday where they're gonna do that,
Okay,
make it a law.
Is this motion to reconsider vote?
Yes.
Okay, let me set the precedent and the rationale for
Okay.
why this is essential. There is a Conflict of Interest Act that governs all of you, and there was an issue that came up with one of your members, Ms. Kaiser. There was money that was, VC that gave money to the IDA for a small business loan. Ms. Kaiser made a application to be considered with all other applicants, and she was awarded a loan for her business. As a result of that, at that point in time, since the IDA was the individual entity that set up the parameters and all individuals are treated alike, there was no potential conflict of interest at that time for her regarding receipt of a loan. However, there was a vote that was taken by the board at their meeting, at your meeting, which Ms.
November
There's
5th.
no November 5th, 2020, in which she made a motion to convert. She would want to ask, you ought to ask the CETA to convert the $100,000 loan funds to a grant fund. At that particular time, Ms. Kaiser, based upon the Conflict of Interest Act, had some opportunity to comply with the Conflict of Interest Act. She was not aware of the fact that it would be a potential conflict, that she would make a motion to convert the loan to a grant. She had no knowledge, and it was not intentional. However, I did some research and found that the appropriate way that for her to not have a conflict was that she should have made it known that she had procured a loan from the IDA, and she should have made known to the public and to you that she had a personal interest in this transaction, and that she should have disclosed that she was a member of a business, professional, occupational group or member which are being affected by the transaction as pursuant to 2.23115H of the Conflict of Interest Act. She failed to do that. So her failure to do that, it would be a potential conflict. So in order to cure the conflict, and I consulted the Conflict of Act Council in Richmond, I did the research, and the way that you correct this is a board member would have to make a motion to reconsider the vote by which you asked the CETA on November 5th, 2020 to convert the $100,000 loan grant to a small business. Once you do that, then that matter is back in front of you again. Then Ms. Kaiser has a statement that she would like to provide for the record, and that you would like to read into the record and give to the clerk to clean this up. Once she has made this declaration that she's going to read in, then she is in compliance with the Conflict of Interest Act, and she could receive the funding that if she chooses to vote, she could. But Ms. Kaiser has made it known to me that she had no intent and has no knowledge that she was in any way not complying with the Conflict of Interest Act. And I think it's her intent to correct the matter for the board, and this is a very serious matter that needs to be cleaned up and allow her to appropriately declare her interest pursuant to 2.23115H and to read this into the record. So the first thing we need is a motion and a second to reconsider the Board of Supervisors November 5th, 2020 vote by which the board voted to convert the $100,000 VCTA loan grant from a small business grant loan to a grant. So that's the first thing we need to get it back in front of the board to correct it, to correct any issues dealing with Conflict of Interest Act.
I will make that motion to reconsider the vote that was taken on November the 5th, 2020,
Go ahead and read it, please.
to convert the $100,000 VC to loan grant from a small business to a grant fund for small businesses. I'll make that motion.
From a loan to a grant.
From a loan to a grant.
Any further
That was mine.
discussion?
And I second it.
Does the person that made the motion have to rescind it or not?
No.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of, you heard of the coon dog scandal. I don't particularly feel comfortable participating in this vote. I mean, there's been people that been criminally charged for this kind of thing, so I'm not gonna vote on it. So I'll do a roll call, Ms.
Say
Willis.
no. This is not criminal. I mean,
Well, when you give yourself a
She-
loan
she
and then
has
vote to
paid it
forgive it,
back.
I'm just saying, it's not
She made a mistake. We all make mistakes.
good.
She made a mistake. She didn't do it out of any kind of, I'm sure. And so, let's not make more of it than what it
I'm
is.
not. I'm just saying I'm not gonna vote on
Let's get it
it.
over with and done with and move
So
on.
we have a motion and a second.
Second.
Ms. Willis, how do you vote?
I'm sorry.
Who seconded that?
Who seconded mine
Well,
motion?
you know,
Did you
I
second?
listened for 2.5 hours to the FOIA thing on virtual,
Yeah,
That was
I did too.
and this happened after that meeting, correct?
I don't know.
Well, I knew when she voted on it, and I knew that somebody told me she got the loan. I knew she wasn't supposed to be voting on it.
Well, she could, the FOIA council have the FOIA, the conflict of interest case, is that she could have voted on it to avoid a conflict of interest by stating 4 items, and then she could vote on it legally.
Yeah, but I
She could
didn't
have.
know that, nobody knew that, well, it doesn't matter, I'm not.
I mean, I didn't know that she'd got a loan, but somebody told me that she'd applied. I did not know she got.
But the issue of getting a loan and the motion of converting it from a loan to the grant is not the issue. The issue is that she should have stated for the record that the 4 items that she's going to read into the record tonight, and that would give her the ability to bring the thing back up and to vote appropriately.
If I may add, I didn't think about it at the time, but we've had this happen the last term. There was an issue with the school budget, Shelby, and Jason wasn't properly informed by Stephen. And not saying it's your fault, but it's just that you didn't know. But their concern was race, so he had to state
He
his
always
relationship
stated
and all
that.
that.
That
So it's just an oversight, we're just trying to correct it.
They're trying to correct it, that's correct.
That's right, I believe that's
And,
what
and
Ron
Ms., and
said.
Ms.
I'll vote aye.
Ms. Kaiser has also written a check.
You second it?
She seconded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has.
She asked me how I voted.
And I second it.
I vote aye.
Okay,
Miss-
if I might,
Yes, please finish, and then we'll get to the.
Ms. Kaiser, because she is doing her best to make sure that, to show the public, did not intend to do this. She has written a refund check, regardless of what the vote is, for $2,500 back to the IDA tonight, and that will be delivered to the IDA tomorrow. But once she does this, she wouldn't have to do that. The council, the Conflict of Interest Council, once she declares her interest and it reads into the record, that document that she had, she would be legitimately able to vote and legitimately able to receive and legally to receive the $2,500 grant.
Well,
And so she would be able to do that, but she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to have possession of it.
You don't see a problem with
So
giving
there's-
yourself a loan and voting to forgive it?
She did, okay.
Okay.
She did it out of, like I've done some things, you've done some things that we didn't know at the time.
So you want to restate your motion?
No, she got a
She's a motion.
second, correct?
Okay.
You two seconded it.
No, Ron
I seconded
seconded it.
He
Ron
did,
seconded.
Ron seconded it. Okay, let's
I'm
vote.
gonna vote
All right,
aye.
Ms. Willis,
I
right,
vote
Ms.
aye.
Sluss,
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser,
She'll abstain.
Yeah.
Mr. Peters,
Aye.
I abstain as well, so the motion carried 3-0 to reopen the vote. Now, I assume we need a new vote.
Okay, now what you need to do is allow Ms. Kaiser, she has a document, and I've got a copy for everybody, that she's going to read into the record that becomes a permanent part of your minutes tonight to correct the issue.
Do I read the whole 2 pages or just A, B, C, and D?
No, all of that.
Great, amen.
May proceed.
I don't have no business.
Go ahead, Ms. Kaiser.
During the November 5th, 2020 board meeting, as a member of the Board of Supervisors, I participated in a discussion and vote regarding a Vasita Small Business Loan Program administered by the county IDA. I previously applied as a business person for a loan for the Vasita funds, and my business received a loan of $2,500. During the November 5th board meeting, I participated in a board discussion regarding the converting of the Vasita loan to a grant. Pursuant of the Conflict of Interest Act, I should have declared my personal interest in the transaction prior to making a motion and voting to convert the IDA small business loan to a grant. Pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3115H, my personal interest was and is as follows. Transaction involved: I received a small business loan from the IDA in the amount of $2,500 as a business loan. The nature of my personal interest affected by the transaction. The loan of $2,500 from the IDA was to offset the COVID losses affecting Peggy's Diner, a catering business located in Dickinson County. I now know, based on legal counsel review that I should have declared my interest in the IDA loan prior to any discussion or vote on converting the IDA small business loan to a grant. Member of a business, profession, occupation, or group, the members of which are affected by this transaction. Peggy's Diner, a catering business, is a member of a business, profession, occupation, or group of members of which are affected by the transaction. Participation in a transaction fairly, objectively, and in the public interest. I certify that I am able to participate in this transaction fairly, objectively, and in the public interest. The county attorney has advised me that upon his review of the Conflict of Interest Act, that my participation, Peggy's Diner, in the county IDA loan program was not a conflict of interest. The county attorney, based upon his review of the Conflict of Interest Act, has advised that I could legally participate without a violation of the Conflict of Interest Act in the discussion and the vote to convert the IDA loan to a grant had I declared my personal interest in the transaction pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3115. This declaration of interest statement that I wish to file for the record with Dickinson County Board of Supervisors clerk fully complies with my requirements to fully disclose my interest in the IDA small business loan and its potential conversion to an IDA small business grant. The county attorney has advised me that once the Board of Supervisors has reconsidered the vote on converting the IDA loan to a grant and upon my declaring my interest pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3115, I had met my statutory obligation under the Conflict of Interest Act, and I may participate in any such manner as converting the IDA loan to a grant. However, I do not wish to participate in the transaction as defined by the Conflict of Interest Act, and I hereby abstain from any and all matters regarding the loan transaction, which I could do so legally once I declared by interest pursuant to the Conflict of Interest Act. To ensure that there are no remaining issues regarding the Conflict of Interest Act and to assure the public that I did not knowingly violate any provisions of the Conflict of Interest Act, I have reimbursed the Dickinson County IDA the full return of $2,500 loan made payable to Peggy's Diner, submitted to the clerk of the County Board of Supervisors on this 15th day of December. And I came to pay it back in November, and I was told to wait till all the paperwork was put together. But it was actually written last week, not today. I wrote
I'd
it
ask
last
her to
week.
postpone writing a check until I did all the research and had all the legal matters resolved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so now that's into the minutes. Now we'll move to,
We got to approve, a new motion to approve the conversion.
correct. Does somebody want to make that motion?
I make a motion to approve first.
No,
No,
you make the
you make a motion to
We're going to revote
request
this resolution.
that loan.
$100,000 loan be turned over into a grant.
All right.
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Willis?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
Abstain.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Aye as well. Motion carries 4-0. All right, we'll move on to item number 19.
Before we do those.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, David. I'm
Before we
sorry.
do the appointments, could we
Do
let
Sandy Ridge.
Sandy Ridge rest?
Yes,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No,
We're
we
gonna-
ain't letting him talk.
We've got no money and no time, but go ahead.
The man.
We're out of money. We
The
couldn't
man
give
is
all
on
the money
40
out.
hours, no sleep, and he really wants to go home, so it's gonna be very
I
brief.
do. So let me say sorry first off, and not sorry. I planned to be here at 6 o'clock, but somebody decided to call 911 needed us. So I found that to be more important.
Sure, certainly.
My partner Wade Fields with Sandy Ridge Rescue sent over an email to Teresa. It's a resolution. Kind of give you a little explanation of what the resolution is Sandy Ridge Rescue Squad short-staffed compared to most rescue squads. We're trying to keep the rescue squad covered as much as possible. Unfortunately, covering every day is a pretty tough thing to do when you don't have enough staff to do so or the right certifications to meet each level of care. For instance, every paramedic needs to have an EMT on the ambulance in order to properly perform their duties unless otherwise a resolution is signed for a driver that's certified to drive that paramedic around so he can perform his duties. In this case, if we were to have the resolution signed, we'd be able to spread ourselves out more throughout the week in order to be able to cover the Sandy Ridge area in more of a pool than 3 to 4 days a week. We'd be looking at probably somewhere between 5 and 7 days altogether. So at this time, our coverage right now is it's better than it's been in years, but it's still poor. We got members coming in now that we've wrapped our ambulances, gave ourselves all a new look, but it's still just not enough. We're asking the Board of Supervisors if you consider signing the resolution that was sent. So we turn this over to the Department of Health, EMS, so we can be released to have EVOC drivers, emergency vehicle operator drivers, be able to drive the paramedics or advanced life support member to scenes and to hospitals from there.
So you just need a motion to pass this resolution, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's exactly.
David, is there anything special?
I am not aware of anything with this. I'm not sure, Mr. Phillips, have you seen this?
I've just read the
I know it
resolution.
was back.
Tab 7, tab
Yeah,
7.
I'm familiar with the statute, and I have conferred with Ron Kendrick on the same issue, and it's a correct statement of the law.
I will say, I didn't see anything in it that triggered anything I found odd or strange about it, and I would think as long as Mr. Phillips is okay with it, I think this is a resolution that does nothing but assist them.
Ms. Wilson, make
I make a motion that we pass the resolution for Sandy Ridge Volunteer Fire. That's
Rescue.
resolution.
Rescue Squad.
Sandy Ridge Rescue Squad.
Is there a
What did I say,
second?
fire department?
That's okay, it's a long night.
Sandy Ridge Rescue Squad.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Thanks, Chairman.
May I say something else? Is that
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yeah.
All right,
This is
I wanted to come and also jump into a public hearing, but unfortunately I couldn't make it in time. I just want to bring up, there's an address on Dixon Highway, it's 5585, and right below that address on the roadway is a ditch hole. It's a pretty big hole. Vehicles keep finding themselves in it.
Where's it at?
It's across from the high school, down
Yeah.
where Benny Vance lives.
Where now?
I don't know the
You
name
know,
of
at
the
the big
people
hole
there,
right
but-
there,
Yeah,
Tom.
right there at his driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so
town won't do nothing to fix it.
we've had ambulances now in that hole. We've seen
Where's that
private
at?
motorists in that
You know,
hole.
across from the Clintwood
VDOT's
High
been
School, Old
contacting
Town
them
High
this
School, where
time,
Benny
and from my
Vance
understanding,
lives.
it's also been brought
Oh,
up
what you
here.
put for Dr.
It's a
Dr.
safety hazard that
what's
needs to
body-
be addressed.
his name?
Tato?
Yeah, we're all aware.
No,
VFW's
Dr.
got to
Iverhead.
do a
Iverhead's
memorial
office,
service
yeah,
there.
next to Iverhead's office.
Well, I thought it was a
Firing
water
squad.
meter.
No, there's a hole there, buddy.
I
You
just
go
thought
in,
I'd
you're gonna have to have
bring
room
it
to
up, see
get
if there's
out.
anything that can be done to even just put like even just a little bit of guardrail right there to kind of,
You need the
filling in
guardrail
that
around
hole, I
it,
don't
like
think
they
is gonna be
one
an
of them
option
circle
because
Oh,
it is
I
a
got
ditch
you.
line.
One of them circle
If
ones,
there'd be
yeah.
a guardrail or something there, I think we can prevent a whole lot of, future hazards.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Hey, you guys are welcome. Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Thank you for
Happy
the
New Year.
resolution. And do I come back and pick that up?
Stay safe.
Yeah. We'll have it.
You should be able to get it tomorrow.
Yeah,
You
we'll
talking
sign
about the
it.
resolution?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
We'll
get,
sign it tonight.
it'll get signed tonight. I guess I guess just pick it up tomorrow. That's okay.
I'll send it over.
That'd be good.
All right, appreciate you all.
Thanks.
Have a Merry
Thanks, Randy.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Take care now. Be
Sure.
safe.
I think I'm on 23 now, at the last page of our agenda, appointments, the VASAP board. It looks like is Mr. Baker not interested in continuing to serve on that?
I was under the impression that he was on there due to him being the Commonwealth attorney. I'm not positive
I
about
think
that,
that's why we put it on.
but that's the way I remember it.
Okay.
So they're just looking for a replacement for him. I don't know if Mr. Newberry would be interested or not.
Knowing him, probably not. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
Is it
My
appropriate
recommendation is if you don't have a name, let's table it and you can pick it up. You can pick it up after you've had a chance to talk to some folks.
I would
Well, is there any reason that Seth can't serve?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so, but I
We
don't
need to
know,
ask him
I
if
don't
he's
know
willing
enough
to
about
serve.
this. I would
I don't
assume there's a
either.
reason why the Commonwealth's attorney was put on as a
I think
member.
he's a citizen. I think he was on there even before he was elected. He's been on there a while.
I mean, and that's possible.
I'm almost certain that's the case.
I think he's been on it a while. I'm not sure how long.
We're not aware of anything that would make him ineligible for it, so if you just wanted to put him back on, I guess you can.
I say we put him back on.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to
I'll make a motion that we put Seth back on it if he will accept it.
I second that. Is there any other discussion or somebody else having another name? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Mr. Baker be recommended for appointment, assuming he accepts. Item B, there are 3, I believe, vacancies on the Dickinson County Behavioral Health Board. I'm just gonna read the letter. It looks like, Ron, you have a vacancy, and I'll go ahead and allow you to submit a name if you have one.
Okay, I'm gonna put myself on that panel.
Okay? So you make that
I
motion?
make a motion that,
Is,
is it appropriate for me to make that motion?
I think so.
I'll make the motion that I appoint myself to that
I
panel.
think that's fine. Is there a second? I kinda like the idea of a board member being on
Yeah,
there.
that's kinda why I'm doing it.
I'll second that. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well. The next is my district. I would like to submit the name of TJ Fright to serve as the Willis District Representative on this board. Mr. Fright served on the board previously. He's a business owner in my district.
Has he been off a year?
Yeah, he's been off a year now. It's my
Hey,
understanding.
so what's the distance, Shelby, do you have to, you can't serve continuously,
David,
you know, we talked about.
Kevin's here. Do you wanna bring Kevin in?
Is he still here? I'd say
Is
yes.
he
I
still
was
here?
thinking that
Kevin,
It didn't say that on the.
He was on there
David
before,
didn't
but he may have had to come off.
Well, he
I looked
did,
it
and
up,
he
I
served
couldn't
a
tell.
year.
I believe that is one of the boards. There are term limits, but if you've been off for
A year, I
a
think.
1-year window, you are eligible for
If
reappointment.
he's ineligible, we'll bring it back.
No, he is eligible because he's been off for.
Yeah.
My understanding, he's eligible.
He has been off for
Mine
at
has not,
least
it's
a
not,
year.
it's
that's
still
what I
on
thought,
it,
too.
so he has to be off a
Mr. Chairman,
year.
I think it says 2 consecutive terms, and then you have to go off.
Then you have to have a time off and then you're eligible to be
Yeah.
so.
My understanding in my
I-
research is that he's eligible. I wouldn't submit
He
any
is
other
eligible.
person.
He's been off 3 years, I'd say.
I would agree with all
You're on it
that. I
now,
think
do
he's
you?
eligible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been off
I
3
don't think
years.
so. All right, I submit his name. Is there a second to his name or any questions for me about him?
Who is it, Mr. Chairman?
Mr.
again?
TJ
TJ
Fright.
Fright is who I have submitting for the Willis District.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Ms. Kaiser. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Ms. Sluss, you now have an appointment for your district.
Well, Sean Puckett indicated to me that he still wanted to remain on the board, so I'll submit his name if that's appropriate.
Yes, I mean. So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion or questions about Mr. Puckett? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well.
didn't
Let's see,
think they
I'm
could
sorry.
I
We
think they have a
Planning
policy
Commission.
saying they can't.
I've kind of went and done a little research. There's a lady that I've become acquaintances with. She's a very nice woman. I sent an email. I hope all y'all received it. She's, got a wide-ranging, business background, has, grandchildren she's raising here, seems very interested in the county. She volunteers at Hayside Library. She lives, on Cowpath Road. Her name's Barbara Wilbur. Don't want to get bogged down in any debate, and certainly she doesn't either, but she said she'd be willing to serve. And
What's her last name?
Wilbur, it's Wilkbur. She's very active, like I said,
I don't know her, but
in the schools with her grandkids and stuff, and her son-in-law works for Johnson Chevrolet.
they don't meet about once every year, do they?
Every 2 months.
Yeah.
We're hoping to maybe
And we
boost
haven't
that.
been meeting because of the COVID
But I would submit her name for consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions about
I don't
her
know the
that I
lady.
can answer. But I think she would be excellent.
I wouldn't mind being on that myself, since I have fooled with it some.
Is there a, I mean,
It's an
I,
evening appointment, so the
There,
meetings are normally in the afternoons.
Pardon me?
Like 5 o'clock.
Planning Commission is made up of the county administrator.
I'm just letting you
It don't
know.
make no difference to me.
there's not a K in her name, it's a B, I'm sorry, I
Ain't
don't
no
know what
difference to me,
I'm.
'cause I'm
Citizen.
retired.
What?
I'm still
Afternoon or
ahead.
night, don't make no
Well, I was
difference.
just going, the Planning Commission
I like
has
to
7
nominate
voting
myself.
members. One is the county administrator, one is a board member, and there are 5
Yeah,
Citizens.
citizen appointments.
So Ron currently has the board.
yes.
He does.
Okay, well, I'll shut my
He
mouth
does.
then.
And I don't care, we kinda had a hard time finding somebody, and
Well,
I
I did have a house burning, it went before the the building code appeal board.
we're talking about planning commission.
Planning Commission.
Oh, planning commission, I'm sorry. Yeah, if that lady, you think she's a good lady and.
Yeah, I mean, I do, and like I
don't
said,
know.
I don't know her, but we'll
she's
take
very
her word.
busy, and but she said she'd be interested in doing it, so
Well, I'll second your
second that,
motion
Josh.
then.
all right, it's Wilbur, Teresa, I said Wilbur, and I was totally wrong on that, I apologize, but, so Miss Barbara Wilbur would be submitted for the.
You know
planning-
how long she's been in the county?
I
Well,
need to,
several years,
Okay.
she's got roots here, they moved away and then moved
Did you ever
back.
get to ask Matthew Davis about that?
Never.
He wasn't sure if it would have any ill effects on his business and stuff. He just didn't seem too interested.
Okay.
I did talk to him again.
I need to ask something on this, though. I brought it up before and I can't remember what was said, David, but
Paying the board,
paying, not my position or the county administrator position, but
The citizens.
the citizens.
You'll need to revisit that during budget time.
Okay, and that's what I thought.
I agree with that, though.
Yeah, I do too.
And I would think it would be a good idea to have your citizens have something, because there
Have a
are,
reason to come.
there are 6 meetings a year.
Yeah.
And I think it would be good to have something for them.
That's why I brought it up. I wasn't,
Yeah.
And I'll get you her address and stuff, if she passes. So there's a motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well, and I'll get that, Madam Clerk, to you for her.
just hope she's not disappointed.
Well, and I told her it could be whatever she makes it out to be. Board of Building Code Appeals, I think there's a vacancy. Is that Eric's position?
I think it's to reappoint them.
Yeah, Eric is eligible for reappointment to the board.
Well, I'd like to sort of be on that board, if y'all don't let me on nothing.
Well, I'll make a motion that we put Rhonda on it if she
Yeah, I
wants
thought
to
that would be
serve
on.
on it.
I'll second. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if there are there professional requirements to be on that?
There may be, no.
We've always
You have
had-
any
I
contractors?
actually thought Eric was on there because of his engineer status, but I could be way wrong on that, but the board of,
I'm doing this from memory, Mr. County Administrator, but I think that it specifically calls for specific expertise.
I think there's a
Well,
professional
mostly
requirement.
contractors are on it, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I know Kermit's on it.
Kermit
Which I
was
didn't know
one,
if it's
Rocky
fine, I don't
Wood.
have to be on it. That's fine, we can
Contractors are
nominate Eric,
Yes,
that's fine for me.
Well, I withdraw my nomination then.
Pardon me? I'll withdraw your nomination, I'll nominate Eric. Renominate
second it.
Eric.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye as well. And then I guess we have appointments for the county administrator. I think probably the prudent thing might be, let's make sure Mr. Barton accepts that contract, 'cause he may not. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
let's not waste time and let's,
Where are we gonna find
let's
out?
process. Well,
Are you, today's your last day, David?
Yeah?
He don't come back tomorrow?
It was supposed to be, but I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow.
You're coming back
Well,
to
where
take
you
care of
gonna find out
COVID
if
anyway,
Mr.
aren't you? The care.
Well,
Barrett
I will
Martin's
be
gonna
doing
accept
part
this
things
position,
to
bud.
take care of
You know?
CARES Act.
I'm sorry.
And
When will we
hopefully
know if
tonight,
I
Mr.
mean,
Barton's gonna accept this position?
I think Mr. Barton has made it known that he wishes to be your new county administrator.
Okay, good.
And I would recommend you go ahead and.
point, okay.
Yes,
Let's just point him to all them board, can we do it all at one time?
yes.
Well, I make a motion that we appoint him to,
The county
as
administrator.
the new county administrator.
Tell you, if he don't, we're hurting.
And appointing to the boards that the county administrator is a part of, the Lonesome Pine Regional and RIFA Industrial Facilities Authority, and the Southwest Virginia Regional Jail Authority, the Southwest Virginia Group Standards Committee, the Virginia Association of Counties, and the Planning Commission.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Item 24, I think I've got my numbers right,
Yeah.
David.
Here is 24.
Very
so-
confusing.
I make a motion that we authorize the county administrator or whoever pays the invoices to have authority to pay the bills to the end of the month.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Item 25, it's been a long, long meeting. David, I've got something for you. You may want to throw up the trash. You may, I hope you appreciate it. I bought this with my own money and it was my own idea,
Oh,
but
no, I'll pay part of it.
I've got a plaque that says
Wondered if
in
we had
recognition
one.
and appreciation for more than 10 years of service to Dickinson County. Had it made for you. I would hope you would accept it. On behalf of the board and myself personally as chairman, I want to acknowledge your service to the county and would like to present this plaque to you.
He had
And
that
thank you
thing, he
for your
had that
service. Would you care to take a picture? Let's get the whole board.
Everybody together.
Like I said, you may want to throw in the trash, I don't know, but I thought it was something nice that we could do.
No, it's not. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It looks good. Looks like one Teresa would order up.
I'll be honest, Rita helped me, so I have to give a little credit.
help pay for
Yeah, me too. I'm happy to contribute.
Rhonda, get up a little bit.
I'm pretty bad.
Get in here, Ron.
Everybody get close.
In that one. Small.
Couldn't see it, it's smiles.
Your eyes show it.
Congratulations, and,
Can start that.
Adam, you want to go ahead, and we also got something else here for you.
Put down the light. Turn down the light.
Woo!
I need to breathe.
Mine too.
My sister Sharon's recommended it when we out, we double mask. And I went shopping Saturday night, double mask. I was smothered to death.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Who are those big?
You're fixing to get to know him.
That guy used to be here, didn't
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
he? Hours, was that his name?
Kim, I mean.
He is a non-guy.
Big day right there.
That was.
That was a big day.
What was that day?
That was a big day.
Courthouse.
Oh, the courthouse day, huh?
Yeah, they made me be the key speaker, and I was like, oh my God. Big day.
That was a big day.
Very Kilmore.
It's in Richmond, Virginia.
We were in Richmond, yep.
Or Shelby.
Yeah.
At the
That was at
tobacco
a
company
breakfast that,
Or Bonnie.
wasn't Interfest, but it was Equal, I guess, did it.
Yeah, it was over at the gas
Yeah.
place.
Or the Shelby's around all them men.
Oh, I served 12 years with all men.
Mate, all them men around you. Couldn't answer anything about it.
Well, I helped my own with them.
I'm talking about, I'd rather be surrounded by a bunch of men and women.
Is that Ron Kendrick took over?
No, that's Fred Ramey from Norton.
Oh,
That was one of the coldest, that was one of the coldest days ever right there. It's freezing.
There's Sandy. Is
Chamber,
that the chamber?
yeah,
Oh,
chamber
Henry been over.
Christmas lunch.
That was
Again,
the
coldest day
Crane's Nest
ever.
Trail, that was a cold day too.
Oh, Lord, that was so cold. That's
I
it,
let Trey Bill have my scissors that day because he was
Christmas party.
going to do it.
How's it today?
Oh, Lord.
Who's that guy around?
Tyler Lester, that's
Tyler Lester.
Todd Pillion's,
Very
aide.
powerful guy.
That was the Hayside
That was when,
Trail.
up at the ATV trail.
Yeah,
Yeah, on a Saturday, we were up there.
Who's Jeff Lester? Is he the?
He's a newspaper editor.
yeah,
he's the
I
one
forgot who he
said-
was.
He said, wanting a copy of the contract.
Oh, Lord.
That's good.
you're smiling in that one.
I was, well, until she tells me I better smile. I was like, the only person that has that many pictures of me is Rita.
I thought he's good.
Well, thank you, well, that's super nice.
Yeah.
That is super nice.
Maybe begging
Well, I'm
him to
thinking
come
the
back.
plaque was all my idea, but the video was Rita and Peggy helped
I
get
felt
that
like we should
going.
have got
So,
a plaque or
I-
something.
David, we,
I appreciate all that, I do.
regardless of whatever, 10 years and you served the county well. And, on behalf of this board, we appreciate you. On behalf of myself, you've been nothing but, good to work with me, regardless of any differences we may have, but, you're deserving of a good send-off and we appreciate having you.
Well, I always try to do my best.
At this time, Ms. Willis, do you have any?
I just like to thank David for the 10 years he served and having the opportunity to serve with him for the 10 years.
You were here the whole
And
time.
We've been here the whole time together.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed working with David.
Ms. Lewis?
I'm sorry to see David go. I think he's very knowledgeable and done a good job. And, I appreciate you, David.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We might come tomorrow begging you to come back.
Ms. Kaiser?
Oh, I'm like everybody else, didn't really know David. I knew his face, knew of him, but didn't really know anything about him, about his work or anything till came on board in January. Appreciate what he's done, how he has led us through stuff, helped me learn things. And with the vote for no for Larry tonight, in our meeting, last month, I abstained from voting. So tonight, I just still voted that way. Has nothing to do with the man that I think he can come in here and do the job. It's just that, I decided that's what I needed to do.
Mr. Peters?
I'm gonna miss you, David. You've been a great leader, and
I'm gonna miss him too.
I thought you did an awesome job.
Thank you.
And, I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. As far as Larry, congratulations. Look forward to working with you, and I just felt the way I voted tonight, I had to do that because of the way the job was done, but it's nothing personal to you. I think I look for good things from you. Thank you.
Well, David, I've said it a couple of times. I wanted to do right by you because you deserve it. And I look forward to whatever you're going to do in the future, whether it's working with us in some other aspect or whatever it is. Wish you the very best. Wish you all a Merry Christmas. Very grateful to Mr. Phillips and how he has led us with David through this year. It's been one thing after another. As soon as we get our legs under us, then COVID hits. As soon as we get one thing done, it's another, and it's been a very busy year. And without Bud and David, I'm sure hate to see where we would be, but we had some good news tonight, I think, on some economic development prospects. We are getting a vaccine. Heard that Mr. Peters' wife will be vaccinated tomorrow, so I'm hoping for bluer skies and brighter days ahead. It's full steam ahead for Dickinson County, and I'm proud of where we've come and where we're going. And I'm grateful for Mr. Barton. I can't wait to get him in the seat. To see his signature on that contract will be a great relief to me. And I hope he'll sign it before he leaves here tonight, is my hope and prayer for
So he's still
the
with us?
county.
Can you ask him to come in?
Before we adjourn. But anyway, Merry Christmas to each of you. I sincerely hope it's healthy and happy for your families. And look forward to seeing you next year. And we'll wait. Do we want to wait on Mr. Barton, do you think, before we
And I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas too. Anybody out there in YouTube land, if you
Mr.
got.
Chairman, I assume you'll sign the contract tonight, and then we'll get him signed tonight.
I'd like to get him signed tonight.
If he'll sign, I'd recommend.
Yeah, we want to do that.
If he'll go ahead and sign. You got the contract, Ms. Teresa?
I hope everybody in Dixon County has a Merry Christmas and we get rid of this plague on us.
If he doesn't,
I hope he hasn't just jumped ship on us. I don't think he has. He's a stand-up guy.
be our luck.
I didn't realize he's still with us.
Well, thank you. But not on back your way.
Hey, Larry.
Mr. Barton, I apologize. I should have prompted the board, but I thought you may have been gone. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. So I hope, so hopefully you've been watching and hearing.
I've been over in the overflow room, so appreciate everybody tonight. I appreciate the vote. Appreciate the confidence you have in me, and look forward to working with everybody. So thank you.
We look
Larry, I'd
forward to
like
working
to
with you.
present this contract to you, and I know it seems like I'm putting you on the spot, and in fact I am, but I'm going to approach you.
Give me a sign.
Let Mr. Phillips, if he would, present this contract for his signature.
He was in a hurry.
And the clerk and certified. Yes. And we'll get you a copy of this as soon as she will certify signatures, notarize everything.
Larry, congratulations. I don't know if you want an opportunity, I know you spoke, if you want to say anything, if not, if you have any questions, but we're very blessed, and from my perspective, to have you, and I look forward to seeing all that you can accomplish, building on the foundation that David has laid here. Just very happy to go into the new year with you at the helm.
Well, thank you. Mr. Moore's going to leave some big shoes to fill. He's done a great job here. I've known him for a long, long time, and we've worked together in the past. We got together today, looked at some things, talked about some things. He's left me a pretty big list of things. So,
Yeah, we put you
so
on a
smart,
pretty
they probably would have
good
scared me
list of
off in
things
that big
too.
list. But it is going to be some big shoes to fill. Appreciate your patience with me as I learn, as I get my feet on the ground, and I do look forward to working with each and every one of you. So, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Mr. Barton, I informed them that you intend to be here on the 21st, is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, Monday.
He's got to
Monday,
finish out his
21st.
duties and responsibility with the school board until next 21st.
Yes, that's correct.
We gotta talk about meeting that.
Yes, so I guess we're not gonna, thank you, Larry. Thank you so
Thank you,
much, and
Larry.
thanks for staying so late.
I think it'll be good for years to come.
I guess we'll entertain a motion to recess the meeting until Thursday. I will not be at the Thursday meeting, and I don't think Ms. Sluss will be
No,
at the
I can't. I got
Thursday.
to go to the doctor. Y'all give me high blood
I
pressure.
had planned, I'm planning on coming.
Yeah,
I don't have anything.
Ms. Kaiser, if you would, whatever,
and
need to be
Marcia
done, if you
Chairman.
can handle
Okay.
the responsibilities, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay.
I don't know if David may not be there, I don't guess, but.
We don't have anything, we're just going with
Well, I
IDA.
guess it'll have to be adjourned though, or the meeting will take.
But it's to the left when we get
No,
out.
And put
I don't
Larry-
think so.
Well, I don't know.
have three there.
Take out the board of supervisors, and all that comes out.
No, we don't have to adjourn, we're just recessing.
Well, I know we're recessing right
And
now.
then we schedule our next board
Supposed to be
meeting.
really
Let me
cold.
just use my time.
All right, is there a motion to recess the meeting to Thursday,
I
December
make that
17th?
motion that we recess until Thursday at 10 o'clock at the chip mill.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. As well.